broadcasting. Sure to be live shortly. All right. Here we go. Channel is live. Excuse me. Okay. The channel is live, so hello! And welcome to Christiana Plays Ironsworn Starforged. As you can see, if you're watching this, on that side, we have the preview edition of Ironsworn Starforged that is available now to backers of the Kickstarter, which is now ongoing for a game I am very excited about. If you did not watch my previous stream, I performed the Session 0 activities on that stream. Did the world building, built a character and a sector, and got some of that stuff started, but did not actually start playing. So that's what we'll be doing today. But first, a quick recap for those who didn't see the previous stream, and also just as maybe a reminder. So here's basically how Starforged works. The mechanics are pretty simple. It has a whole lot of oracle tables that you roll on when you're not sure what should happen. There's various moves that you will roll to do various things. And the basics of each roll is that you roll 2d10s, and those are your challenge dice. And the results of those die tell you how difficult the thing you're trying to do is. And then you roll an action die, which is a 1d6, and you add to that whatever your relevant stat bonus is. And then based on the result of the action die plus your modifier, you compare it to the challenge dice. If you're higher than both, strong hit. Higher than one but lower than the other, weak hit. Lower than both, miss. Pretty straightforward, and it's a system that I've had a lot of fun with playing in the original Ironsworn. And now we're getting into the science fiction version, Starforged. So let's talk a little bit about what does our world look like here. Hang on. This has got the wrong bit up on the screen. There we go. Okay, so we went through our world truths originally, and what we got from those, we're just going to briefly recap. There was a cataclysm in our old galaxy. Everything fell apart in an age of chaos because of the loss of key resources. And then there was an exodus from that galaxy to the Forge, our current galaxy. Experimental FTL drives brought us to the Forge, but we think they caused the sundering, a fracturing of reality. There are few communities. Few survived the exodus, and we are scattered to the winds in isolated small communities. Now, small is relative, but, and then there's also iron. There is a strange enigmatic metal known as black iron, and iron vows are sworn on black iron. And laws and governance vary across the settled domains, but bounty hunters are given wide latitude. There are 3 dominant religious orders, the Triumvirate, known collectively as the Triumvirate, and they battle for influence and power, which is interesting considering that my character ended up being a devotant of a different religion. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Magic. There are supernatural powers wielded by genetically engineered paragons. Wow. There is spaceborne couriers called the Heralds that transport messages and data across the vast distances. As far as medicine, supplies and knowledge are scarce, but there are riggers that create basic organ and limb transplants. Artificial intelligence, there's vestiges of AI, but they're coveted and wielded by those in power. And for those who can pay, they hire the Legion, which is a guild of professional soldiers, but the rest are on their own. There are many sites and planets that are infested by creatures known as Forge Spawn. And then the precursors are known as the Ascendancy, and they once ruled in the Forge. They built vaults of inscrutable purpose, but they are gone now, and the vaults are untethered from reality, which is important to my character. And then as far as horrors, spacers will tell stories of ghost ships, but it's nonsense. Right? And so, let's talk about my character. My character is named Kiana Bridger, but has taken the call sign Wayfinder after having an intense experience. We came from a humble background, but we're drawn through a desire for wealth and power and fame to explore a vault from the Ascendancy. And while there, I had a transformative vision that persuaded me that the Ascendancy had a way to gain freedom from entropy itself by transcending physical reality. And so I believe that that is humanity's destiny. Excuse me. And that their vaults leave priceless relics and clues for how to find that. And so I have become a devotant, a pilgrim for this religious faith. And so when I emerged from this vision in the vault, I found my ship, the Dawn's Herald. And I don't know who it belonged to before, but it was there waiting for me, and it had, the deck and bulkheads had been scrawled with the strange symbols that I had seen in my vision, so I knew I was meant to have it. And it flies well even if the gravity generator occasionally cuts out. And so my assets that I've chosen, I have my command vehicle starship, the Dawn's Herald. I am a devotant. And when I pray, I use my heart stat, and I can gain some bonuses for that. I have an explorer path as well. These are assets that you choose. Oh, excuse me. Let me close the world truths. It's covering up the asset cards. So in this game, when you build a character, you choose certain assets. And so I'm a devotant and an explorer, and I have a survey bot. And so that's our character to begin with. And my stats, I have edge, heart, iron, shadow, wits. And you can see I've chosen heart is my best stat, and then followed by shadow and wits. And I'm not as much of a fighter as I might have been, so we'll see if I have to find some other ways to solve problems. But then again, I'm a pilgrim. I'm not looking to necessarily just go out and kick ass. So we established when we built this sector that this sector is called Forgotten Deep, and it has two planet-side settlements, one called Hearth that's on this volcanic furnace planet, and one called Ramshackle that's on a rocky planet, and then there's a very small deep space settlement of pirates that live in Deadrock. And so I established that my starting point is going to be on Hearth, and I formed a connection with K. Vega, also known as Stinger on Hearth, who is a shipwright, and we established that he is, he's scruffy, useful, youthful, distracted, talented, impulsive, but he also is infected with an alien parasite that is part of the whole sector's difficulty. So let's go ahead and start getting to, last time we followed through all of these different bits where we established, we created our character, and we got all the way up to the point of creating an inciting event. So beginning your adventure, envision an inciting incident. So an inciting incident is the problem at the beginning of a story, which will propel the protagonist into action. So what it suggests here is a number of places that we could start from in terms of deciding what this ought to be. And so we'll talk about that in a moment. But one of the things that it suggests, as far as what makes a good inciting incident, is make it personal, a problem that won't go away on its own, give it a ticking clock, up the stakes, but limit the scope. Like, don't make it too big. So, I was thinking about what the inciting incident should be for my character, Wayfinder. I thought, okay, let's see. One of the things that we established at the end of the last session was that the sector is dealing with these strange parasitic alien creatures that are very creepy. We established that they are mammalian, rodent-sized, but also multi-jointed and with tendrils, and we established that they're parasitic, and we named them wugglers. And so not only is it, so it's a sector level problem. And so the idea of what if our initial vow was something related to that, we're probably not going to solve the wuggler problem with our initial vow. That's a little too big. But as far as we could make it personal, ticking clock, problem that won't go away on its own. So one of the options would be for our character, for Wayfinder, to wake up with one of these wugglers on us. But I think maybe that's, that is a direction that we could go at some point. But since we established our connection with Stinger, our young shipwright friend, maybe that's a way to, we connected with him early on when we arrived at Hearth. We were making our way through the subterranean volcanic tube tunnels that make up this settlement, going here and there to these strange domed gardens where the local religious leaders hold meditation ceremonies and everything. This is one of the triumvirate religions. And so I made a connection with him as I stopped in to, get some maintenance on my ship. And I realized that he had one of these wugglers on him. But something that we didn't establish at the end of last time was exactly what happens when you've got a wuggler on you. What does that mean? What does that do? A problem that won't go away on its own. So I think and with a ticking clock. So I think that maybe what we establish is, they are bad for you if you have one. So, and that it's a progressive thing, and maybe it just gradually makes you weaker and weaker, or it could even do other things. So I thought maybe we could roll some oracle dice to see, to tell us a little bit more about how the, how wugglers work. So first of all, we can decide what is the effect they have on you. Is it just physical? Like, do they just make you weak and sick, or do they do something else unusual? And certainly with most parasites, I think it would be more likely that it makes you just weak and sick. So maybe what we do is we'll roll a percentile dice, and if it's 1 to 66, we'll say it makes you weak and sick, progressively worse over time. And if it's 67 or higher, then it has some other ominous effect. And so let's roll percentile dice and see what we get. 75. Okay, so it has some other effect too. And what could that be? It could be, for example, it could be some kind of a mutation, or it could be, like gradual mind control is certainly one ominous suggestion. And then maybe we can look at some of the oracles to, let's see. Let's have it just be between those two things. Like that one is that it gives you some kind of a mutating physicality, or that it gives you it starts controlling your mind. So let's do 50-50. So mutations first 50, or mind control second 50. Okay, this is 7. So gradually what happens when you get one of these wugglers on you is that it latches onto you, and there's got to be some way that it doesn't, like, it's not trivial for someone to get one off themselves, right? I don't think that it needs to be quite as aggressive as the face huggers from Alien, right? Like where it's, literally lethal and there's no way to get it off at all. But it might have to be something that someone can't do for themselves, right? Like it's, it's just too painful, I think it makes sense that there is known a medicine that will make you can take that will make a wuggler leave you alone, but it's expensive, and so can't not just everybody can get it, and so that becomes this kind of black market thing, treatment for it. But if you don't take that medicine, it gradually starts mutating your physiology and maybe makes it to the point where if you have it on there too long, your body becomes dependent on it. That makes sense. Okay. So you start getting weaker and your body starts getting dependent on it. And maybe in really bad cases, so you get to a point where it's not only sapping your strength, but you can't survive without it anymore. And I think that all makes sense. So maybe what we can establish is that if there is a medicine to treat a wuggler infection, then but it's too expensive. So maybe what it is that I get some maintenance done on my ship, Dawn's Herald, but I realize that this kid, this shipwright, has this strange creature attached to him. And I ask about it. That's weird. He tells me all about what the wugglers are, and he seems really kind of bummed about it. And it just hurts my heart that that he, is, such a young man, and he is suffering with this whole thing. And maybe what we make an arrangement that he will give my ship I won't have to pay for the ship's maintenance that I just got if I can procure for him some of this medicine that is will help him get rid of his wuggler infection. So I think that makes for a good starting vow. But let's look really quick back at our inciting incident and find out what else we need to decide about it. So allies in the inciting incident. So there's some various ideas we could have rolled on here, but I think we've got a good idea. So we've got our inciting incident, and we've got to get to the point where we swear an iron vow. We established that, I came into this sector from another sector. I'm hoping that in this sector I'm going to be able to find some of the ascendancy vaults that will help me on my pilgrimage to try to find out more about the ascendancy. But I needed some ship's maintenance. I meet Kay. He seems like a good kid. He's friendly, talented, but suffering. And so what I swear to him is that in exchange for free maintenance on my ship, I will make a vow to him. Where does it? Do we? I just realized that compared to the way the tracker, the way it worked on Ironsworn, I don't have an obvious place, because this connection sheet is, this progress tracker is for the relationship with him, and it's as opposed to just a vow progress. And so I think okay, so I think at least for now what I'll just do is I will use this this second progress tracker to be the progress for the vow that I'm going to swear. And I will make that a troublesome vow. And so troublesome is the lowest level, so it's the least difficulty. I think that's a good place to start. And then the vow is, I vow to procure medicine for Kay's wuggler infection in exchange for discounted ship maintenance. So instead of just paying for it, I will pay for it by trying to track down some of this medicine for him. All right, so what that means now is that I am going to do my first move of the game. I'm going to swear an iron vow. So when you swear upon iron to complete a quest, you write your vow and give it a rank, which I've done. Then you roll plus heart. And if you swear this vow to a connection, add +1, which is what we're doing. And then if you share a bond, +2. But we don't have a bond yet, just a connection. So I'm just double checking. Yeah, none of my assets are specifically for swearing an iron vow yet, although there's a devotant one that I can do later. So we're going to roll heart +1. So if we go back over to my stats, you see I've got a heart of +3. So I'm going to roll my d6 of the d6 +3 +1. So let's roll that. +3 +1. All right, so we got a total of 10, which is pretty good. So we'll roll our challenge dice. Oh man. Okay, so this is an auspicious beginning, because not only is my result of 10 definitely higher than those 2 1s, but when you roll matching results on the challenge dice, something else happens, right? It's not just a success, it's a success plus an additional opportunity. And in this case, I beat it by kind of a lot. So first, let's look at our result here. So on a strong hit, you are emboldened, and it is clear what you must do next. And we can ask the Oracle if unsure, and we take +2 momentum. So I'm going to change my momentum from +2 to +4. That's definitely a good starting point. So we've got the vow, and so we know what to do next. And so my first thought was that Ramshackle, we established in our sector, Ramshackle has a black market. And it is in the same sector that has the sector problem of these wugglers. So it makes sense to me that would be the place to go. And that gives us the opportunity to, go around and see and visit another settlement. And so I think, in keeping with the way we did vows back in Ironsworn, it's useful to kind of envision what the various checkpoints would be. I want to try to remember what it said for when we're exploring space. Let's see. Let me open up, I've got a rules reference here too. I'm going to open that up. So I think the obvious checkpoints in this particular type of vow is going to be go to where they have some medicine, get it, come back with it, right? That makes sense. And for a troublesome vow, every time we make progress on it, we're going to fill 3 of our 10 boxes. That's how it works with the troublesome vow. So, if we have those 3 bits, we're going to fill it up 9 out of 10. That seems like it's pretty straightforward, and that's a good place to start, especially because we're going to have plenty of complications come up as we play. So let's see. Got quest moves, so we're going to reach a milestone and make progress, and so we can establish what we think our initial milestones are, which is go to where they have it, get some, come back. And then exploration moves. So undertake an expedition would be if we're trailblazing a route through perilous space. But if we look on our sector map, there is a path from Hearth to Ramshackle, which means that going from one to the other is not trailblazing through perilous space. It's just going to be set a course. So when you follow a known route through perilous space, across hazardous terrain, or within a mysterious site, roll plus supply. So what that suggests here is we're just going to roll plus supply, which is our abstracted track that represents just how much like fuel and tools and all of that sort of thing we have. So let's see. Yeah. All right. I think that's just, we're potentially making the, you know what? I'm not going to overcomplicate it for myself early on. I did that when I initially played Ironsworn, is that I kind of gave into a tendency to make everything hard without realizing that the game's pretty good at doing that all by itself. So let's just go ahead and say, I'm going to, because of my strong hit on making a vow, I know where to go first. So I know that I can get some of this medicine in Ramshackle at the black market. And I don't know all the details about how to get it once I'm there, but I know that it can be found there. So let's do the set a course roll, which means that we're rolling with supply. My current supply is +5. So that means I'm rolling a d6 +5. And then I'm rolling the 2d10. All right, so once again, wow, okay. So those, oh, you know what I also didn't do is I need to figure out what the opportunity was from that first roll. But it looks like I got a strong hit already because I rolled a 6 on the action die, so for a total of 11. So then even though the challenge dice are 6 and 10, I think that still makes a strong hit. Let me just double check. I'm trying to make sure if there's a rule about you can't ever get higher than 10. Like if you let's see. I'm trying to just double check because I don't want to, there's plenty of things that will make it complicated. Okay. Oh, the action score is never greater than 10. Anything over that is ignored. See, I thought so. Okay, so what that means is I got a 10. The challenge dice were a 6 and a 10, which means that's a weak hit. So let's figure out what that means on our set a course roll. But also, we have an opportunity from the Iron Vow. So let's figure out what that is first. I think there's an oracle for find spaceborne opportunities, planet-side opportunities. Okay, so we've got a planet-side opportunity, life-bearing. So let's roll on that oracle to find out what our initial opportunity was, and then we'll deal with my weak hit on setting a course. Okay, so 20 is the result here. So on a life-bearing planet, the result of 20 is an interesting or helpful aspect of local plant life. But in this context, maybe that just relates to what the medicine is that the plant life, because the plant life, maybe what the medicine is it's actually something that just grows on Ramshackle's planet, which was on planet Dusk. But it's a rocky planet, so it might still be scarce. But it just means that it's not necessarily something I have to buy. It's something I could maybe just find and harvest myself. Okay, yeah, I like that. I think that's good. Is that I won't necessarily have to buy it at the black market, although that's maybe an option. But I could just find it. But so now we got our weak hit on our set a course. So let's find out what that means. On a weak hit for set a course, which I'm looking at right here. Actually, let's make sure my screen is showing all the way to the edge of the page. There we go. On a weak hit, I arrive at my destination but face a cost or complication. Choose one. I either suffer costs en route, either make a suffer move -2 or 2 suffer moves -1, or I face a complication at the destination. Envision what you encounter. So let's see what those suffer moves look like here. So we have lose momentum, withstand damage. So lose momentum, endure harm, endure stress, withstand damage, or companion takes a hit, or sacrifice resources. So this seems like the ones that make the most sense would be lose momentum or sacrifice resources are probably the ones that feel like those are the most likely to come up in this circumstance. So let's just go ahead and do that. We can do, either we can either lose 2 momentum, or we could lose 1 momentum twice, right? Or we could lose 1 momentum and then lose 1 supply. Yeah, let's just do that for now. Once again, we're going to get plenty of complications later. So we'll say that there are just various delays that happen on my way. Like, I'm so excited to get going, and then it just turns out it's like, oh wait, no, because you just arrived, you haven't filed your residency paperwork here on the Hearth settlement, and so you have to still do all of this paperwork before you can file your flight path to all of this. And actually, okay, because you're just leaving again, you're spending some supply, some fuel to get there. So yeah, okay, that makes sense. So I suffer those 2 things for my weak hit, but I make it to to my destination. And so here I would be reaching a milestone on my quest. So when you make headway, you mark progress per the rank of the vow. So in this context, the way that I've got this set up to draw is a little bit awkward, but so you 1 tick, 2 ticks, 3 ticks, 4. Yeah, that's an ugly one. 4 ticks, and then so that's 3, 4. All right. That's a little ugly, but sure, I'll just leave it. That's good. So, and because we have, it's a troublesome vow, when I mark progress on it, I fill 3 boxes. Paste. Okay. All right. So far, so good. This is a pretty good start as we get there. But so now that I have arrived on Ramshackle, let's figure out a little bit more about Ramshackle, because now that we're arriving, let's roll for a couple of features for this planet. Oops. So this is a rocky world. So we want to establish the atmosphere. And we had established previously that we've got 6 types of atmosphere. So let's roll a d6. 1. Okay, this is the atmosphere of the planet Dusk. We already established previously that it orbits a neutron star, and it's got intense magnetic fields around it, and there's no atmosphere, which makes sense maybe for a rocky planet. So that means that if we establish that this is some local plant, that's going to be some weirdo local plant, right? But let's figure it out. Okay, so no atmosphere, and then we can take this Rocky World Oracle, and so observe from space, we'll roll 2 features that we can see from space as we're approaching. Okay, 53 and 83 are our results there. So 53 be a massive impact crater, and 83 is a towering plateaus. Okay, planet surface includes massive impact crater and towering plateaus. All right, and then when we get a little closer in, we have our planet side feature, so let's roll that. We've got 2 percentile dice for that. 31 and 64. So 31, geothermal vents, maybe makes sense there. And then 64 is steam heated caves. Also includes, spelling words correctly, includes steam heated caves and geothermal vents. And so I think it maybe makes sense that our actual settlement, which is this lawless place with a population of thousands, has a black market, and it's also the secret home of a project where people are trying to rebuild the experimental FDL drives. We established that. But I think that maybe this settlement is actually in that massive impact crater where they have access to the geothermal energy that will help them on this airless planet. And then let's roll for let's roll for life. How much life is on this weird planet? 51. So 51 says there's no life on this planet. Okay. So if there's no life, how do we square that with what we had previously established? Is that maybe it's something that is not, because we don't want to contradict what we had said earlier. Maybe it's just something that is okay. Well, let's see. You know what? I'm gonna veto no life just because I like the idea that there's maybe just very sparse, unusual, strange grasses that grow in certain spots on this otherwise lifeless planet. Okay. Sparse, strange grasses which can be processed to make anti-Wuggler medicine. Okay, yeah, all right. Okay, so that's what we know a little bit more about this this planet as we're settling into it. And then as far as the settlement itself, we've already established its planet side, and it is got a population of thousands. But let's get a couple of first looks at it. 80 and 97 on this oracle, so sprawling or dispersed structures. And 97 would be descriptor and focus, would be some other oracles to roll on. So let's see, we've got descriptor and focus. So let's roll another 2. 47 for descriptor, frozen, and then focus 95, frozen vehicle. Okay, Oh, okay. They have got one of the old Exodus ships that currently doesn't fly, but they're trying to fix it back up. That establishes one of the settlement projects that we previously established. Okay, great. So in the settlement, we see, so what was our previous first look result? Was sprawling. We see sprawling structures, in the shadow of an immense grounded Exodus ship. Exodus starship. Nice. Okay, so that's what we see coming in. You know, we dealt with a lot of paperwork coming in out of Hearth, less so coming into the lawless place of Ramshackle. But as we fly along, you know, past these towering plateaus and crest the rim of this enormous impact crater, we see these sprawling structures in domes beneath this looming enormous Exodus ship that brought people from our old galaxy. That's great. Okay, so and then I think as we one additional roll now that we arrive here is we're going to roll for a settlement trouble. 96. Settlement trouble would be action and theme. We'll roll on those action and theme. 2 and 23. So action, acquire. Theme, 23. Defense. Okay. Well, you know, we had previously established we've got pirates in the area, so maybe the settlement trouble trying to build or buy defenses against pirates of Dead Rock. Okay. So that's what the people here are currently worried about. That works. Okay, great. So now that I've arrived, and I'm armed with the general knowledge that this grass that does grow on planet Dusk is something that can be processed into the medicine. I think my inclination is going to be, I'm going to try to find that rather than try to buy it from this black market town. You know, I'll that's my fallback, is if I need to. So let's, you know, make that one a little bit more complicated, because this is where I'm going to venture out onto unfamiliar territory. So I think this is maybe going to be an expedition move. So, or maybe, you know what? Let's gather information first. We've got to gather information roll. So I want to start looking around at, like, well, where's the place to go? What do I need to know and do in order to venture out and get this information? So I'm going to search for clues, ask questions, analyze evidence, or do research. And I'm going to roll plus wits. So my wits is +2. Let's see if our assets give us anything to. So my Devotant gives me abilities when I do face danger or secure an advantage, which is not yet. But I'm going to undertake an expedition in a moment, which my survey bot will help me with. And finish expedition I get with the Explorer. But so to start gathering information, I'm just going to roll my +2. So I roll D6. All right, D6 +2, 5, which is not super great. And then let's roll our 2d10 challenge die. 8 and 9. So that's a miss. On a miss, my investigation unearths a dire threat or reveals an unwelcome truth that undermines your quest. Okay. All right. Well, that's not ideal. So we're going to pay the price. Pay the prices. Where's that? Let's see. Pay the price. So we could either make the most obvious negative outcome happen. We could ask the oracle for inspiration, or we could roll on the table below. Let's go ahead and roll on this table below just to, I've got some ideas for what it could be. For example, we just established a settlement trouble was, that there's pirate attacks, so we could have a pirate attack happen. That seems great, but let's roll on this table just to see if that gives us anything that seems more fun. 91 would be you are delayed or put at a disadvantage. Okay, maybe what I find out is that, like, not only do I not get any useful information about what I'm trying to do, but I'm told that there's currently the whole settlement is, just as I'm starting to figure out how to go where I need to go, they say, uh-oh, pirates spotted in the area. We need to put everything on lockdown. So nobody comes and goes right now. So just as I was attempting to try to find some information to help me, all of a sudden everything shuts down and they're saying, like, nobody's going in or out of the settlement right now. And everyone is kind of tense. Okay, well, so that means that I have to kind of change that original plan. So maybe what I need to do then, instead of undertake an expedition, is I'm going to need to see if I can, let's see, perhaps revisit the idea of buying it something at a black market here. So that might be another gather information roll to change my plan. I think that does actually make sense. So let's do another gather information roll to see if there is any of this medicine to be found here, in town to just purchase if I can't leave the compound right now. So that's a low roll. That's only a 3. And then the challenge dice 4 and 5. So I don't have enough momentum to cancel those. And so that's another miss. Okay, so let's see. If what I was just doing is saying, okay, maybe I'm looking around on the black market to see if I can buy some of this medicine, but that is going to cause me some additional problem. Well, you know what? Let's just go ahead and say the lockdown happened because there actually is a pirate attack. Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's say that there is actually a pirate attack happening. Nobody's selling anything right now because there are actually pirates raiding the whole place. So let's, you know what, let me look real quick at some of the, like, does our preview version have some, like, sample creatures? Oh, you know what, let me, yeah, Firestorm Raider. Those are pretty aggressive, though. I'm looking at just some of the example creatures. Drift Pirate, there we go. Okay, yeah, so maybe there's a drift pirate. Pirates have actually broken in, and I discover, like, oh no, there's pirates coming in at the dock, and there's one headed for my ship. That's bad. I'm not much of a fighter, and so now I've got a drift pirate coming after me. So let's see what it says about Drift Pirates. They have scavenged piecemeal armor, cobbled together weapons, tattoos as markings of victory. They want to survive, climb the ranks by proving themselves in combat, build a mighty fleet. Okay, and so, yeah, they are going to be a... this is a Drift Pirate... Drift Pirate. And I have to try to defend the Dawn's Herald from this dangerous attack. Okay, so I think my first move here would be to attempt to just try to order them away from my ship, just by personality of just trying to say, do not attack this ship. I do not have treasure for you. This is a mistake. You should leave me alone. And so I think that that's going to be a compel roll to start with. Yeah, so hopefully we'll see how that goes. So compel, because, maybe we can just avoid combat altogether. So when you try to persuade someone or make them an offer, envision your approach. So I guess I would just be trying to say, move along to some other target and don't attack me, which is pragmatic, perhaps. But yeah, okay, so let's try to do this. So if we're trying to persuade someone, imagine your approach. If you're trying to charm, pacify, encourage, or barter, that would be heart. Threaten or incite would be iron. Lie or swindle would be shadow. You know what? We established that I think my instinct here was not that I'm trying to trick them into thinking that I really have nothing of value, because I have a ship that they could steal theoretically. But I want to kind of appeal to their better nature of move along and find some other target. So I think that's a heart roll. So I'm going to roll d6 plus 3. And then roll the 2d10 challenge dice. Oh, look at that. Okay. So I got a 6 for my d6 plus 3. And then my challenge dice were just a 1 and a 2. So that means it was a strong hit. Great. On a strong hit, they'll do what you want or agree to your conditions. Take +1 momentum. Okay. Good. I'm being easy on myself to start here. So I think in this context, there's a lot of chaos, and there's one of these pirates coming towards me, but I am able to, just through force of personality, encourage him to move on to some other target. And then I think maybe let's face danger to ride out the rest of the attack. Face danger. Where was that one? Okay, face danger is when you attempt something risky or react to an imminent threat. But face danger is one of the moves where if I pray when I face danger or secure an advantage by calling on the Ascendancy to give me wisdom and blessings to protect my holy mission, I'm going to roll my linked stat, and then I'll get extra bonuses based on the result if I get a strong hit. So I'm going to face danger with heart. This is basically for the rest of the raid. That's a pretty good action roll. So I rolled a 5 plus 3 for 8. Then my challenge dice 1 and a 10. Okay, so that's a weak hit. So a weak hit for face danger is I succeed, but at a troublesome cost. And I'm going to make a suffer move -1. But also my Devotant says on a hit, I take +1 momentum or +1 spirit. And then on a strong hit with a match, which isn't what happened. So I get my +1. I could do spirit, but I'm already full. So let's go ahead and take +1 momentum. But then with my suffer, I have a troublesome cost as a result of, riding out this attack. So let's see. Withstand damage, maybe? Yeah, when your vehicle faces a damaging situation or environment. So I think that one maybe makes sense. That there's a lot of explosions and weapons fire going on right now, and I'm worried about damage to my ship. So let's see. I'm going to suffer 1 integrity for minor damage. Let's see. I have my integrity here. Let's pick my little marker. Current would be at 5. And so it would go down to 4 because I'm taking some damage. But, let's see. If your integrity is 0 or you choose to resist the damage, okay. So, I want to try to resist that damage. So I'm going to roll plus integrity, which my integrity is currently 4 because of my, I took some of that damage. Actually, let's see. Yeah, so when you do the withstand damage roll, you subtract the integrity first for the minor damage, but then you roll, and if I get a strong hit, then I can take the point back basically. So rolled a 3 plus 4 for 7, and then the challenge dice a 9 and an 8. So that's a miss. On a miss, it's worse than you thought. Suffer an additional -1 integrity or lose momentum with -2. Okay. All right. So either I lose 2 momentum. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to do that rather than take another bit of damage to my ship. Yeah. Whew. Boy. Yeah. So I think as the, I chased the pirate away from trying to board and take my ship, but gradually managed to move, the combat from this struggle goes ahead and, hang on, let me make this, here we go. I suffer some damage to the Dawn's Herald during the attack. That's no fun. Okay. But now, fortunately, I think eventually the raid, the pirates have gotten enough that they feel like their raid was worthwhile, and they're now departing. And they're going to try to, they leave, and so the lockdown relaxes, and now let's try once again getting back to let's roll for let's roll for gather information again. So all of this has happened just because we're trying to gather information. So this is a perfect illustration of how sometimes in this game you don't have to be mean to yourself in terms of deciding what happens, because plenty of bad stuff can happen regardless, just from the dice. Hang on, I'm just gonna making these screens fit a bit better. Okay, so let's try again. Gather information, and we're gonna roll plus wits, which is +2. And then a challenge dice. So, okay, we rolled a 3, +2 is 5, and then the challenge dice were both 4s, which means that not only is that a strong hit, but it is an opportunity. Great. That's great. Whew, right? Okay, so on a strong hit, you discover something helpful and specific. The path you must follow or action you must take to make progress is made clear. Envision what you learn and then take +2 momentum. Okay, great. So, going to get back some momentum there, get that up to 5, and then let's talk about like what opportunity it might be. All right, let's see. Find that spaceborne opportunity. You know what? I need to close this PDF and reopen it because it occasionally gives me page errors. Okay. That's going to open up again. I think... all right. Sorry, give me just a moment to get this back into... Why is... Yeah, sorry, I apologize, everyone, that I'm getting a little bit more of a issue with the memory than I expected here. Let's get that back up. Okay. Let's just search for that page. Planet side opportunity. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's roll on our planet side opportunity. See how that plays in with our goal here. 68. This is a largely lifeless planet, except for the one. So let's use the lifeless table. Or I guess we could see. So interesting site offers opportunities for exploration. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so, wow, what if, yeah, okay, I start asking around for where there's, I start asking around for where there's a, where I can find some of this grass, and they say, oh yeah, it grows out over in the shadow of this derelict ship that's crashed. Not the big FTL one, but like another one. Just because I think it would be interesting to explore that, but that's, being worked on, and I think this would be, an abandoned one. So not only do I know where to go, but there's a derelict ship to explore while I'm there. That's cool. Yeah, okay, I like that. So now it's just a matter of I have my environment suit. I'm going to see if I can secure an advantage. I'm going to try to secure an advantage, like to see if I can borrow just like a little, transport vehicle to get me there. I don't have one as an asset, but if I try to secure an advantage by calling on the Ascendancy to give me wisdom for where I need to go, I'm going to roll for heart to secure an advantage. And let's see if I can get my get me something that will get me to this place easily. So I'm rolling +3. Oh, that's pretty good. So I got a 6 plus 3 for a 9, and now the challenge dice, a 2 and an 8. Okay, great. So that's a strong hit, which means that I got, with the strong hit, I get an additional +1 momentum or +1 spirit. So I thank the Ascendancy for guiding me to where I would like to be. Get a +1 momentum. And then the regular benefit for secure an advantage on a strong hit, you take +2 momentum and add +1 on your next move, which is not a progress move. Okay, so great. I've got some good momentum now. And so my next move, which I'll get an additional +1 on, is going to be Undertake an Expedition. Undertake an expedition. And so I have a survey bot. So if my survey bot scans the path ahead, I'm going to roll +wits and add, when I undertake an expedition with +wits, I will add +1. And so that's what I'm going to do. And I have an additional +1. So I'm rolling my wits, which is 2, +1, +1, and for my undertake an expedition. All right. Roll d6, +2, +1 for my survey bot, +1 for my secure an advantage. And that's a total of 10. That's great. So the challenge dice are a 3 and a 6. So that's a strong hit on undertake an expedition. So on a strong hit, you reach a waypoint on your expedition. So this is expedition for expedition to Medicine Grass and Derelict ship. Okay. And I think it makes sense that this is a troublesome one for, just for, if it was a more complicated thing, then I probably would have gone another way. And so on a strong hit, I reach a waypoint. And so envision the location and mark progress per the rank. And so what that means is that I have a troublesome progress bar. I'm going to mark progress. Oh boy. Wow. Some of this is like, dear Roll20, please. Yeah. Why is it not? Okay. I thought that was going to be easier than it turned out to be. Okay. All right. Why is it not just grabbing all of it? All right. The point is I've filled 3 boxes. We know that. Okay. So I've reached a waypoint. And I'm not yet at this location, but let's think about what this waypoint looks like. It's gonna be, I think this one is just, we've got these towering plateaus that are outside this enormous impact crater, and so maybe my first waypoint is reaching up the ridge of this enormous crater, and so I take a moment to just survey the harsh rocky vista that is, I need headlights on my little support vehicle ship here because this planet orbits a neutron star which doesn't give off a lot of light, just kind of this big distortion in the sky, and but there's various auras from the strong magnetic field. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, nice. Okay, so but this is not a notable location, I don't think. So Okay, so I undertake expedition again, I guess, to continue. Um, yeah. So I'm just making sure I'm not getting. Yeah, I mean, I still get that bonus. So I'm essentially going to make the same roll as I continue. Um, my d6 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1. Great. I got another 10. So let's see what the challenge dice are this time. A 4 and a 10. So because I matched with that 10, it's still just a weak hit. So on a weak hit, I do reach another waypoint, but this progress costs me. I have to either make a suffer move -2, or 2 suffer moves -1, or I face a peril at the waypoint. Hmm. Let's figure out what that would be. So uh, let's see. Let me uh, marking another progress here. uh, no. I what I need to do is just make little markers to. I need to make little markers to just represent 1, 2, or 3, 4. Yeah, you know what? That's the thing to do. Um, is to just say um, 4. Yeah, and then that way I can just, if I need to have fewer in there, that way I'm just, there we go. Looks a little messier. Like, I can't wait until the official Roll20 sheet gets put out, because the one that they have for Ironsworn is just fantastic. Uh, and so it has all of this just naturally set up to use. So we've got 6 boxes of progress, but now we have to. You know what? Let's go ahead and envision that we've got. We have to face a peril. So let's see what that would maybe be. Maybe. Like, yeah, maybe face apparel is that there is the harsh magnetic fields that are on this planet now that I'm outside the protection of the domes. Maybe there's just like a magnetic storm that's sort of passing by, and I have to kind of shield myself from it underneath the overhang of one of these towering mesas, plateaus rather. Um, yeah, that's pretty cool. So I'm going to, like, as much as I would like to say I can always face danger with heart, I don't think it would always, like, praying is not always going to help. So I think sometimes in this context, for example, I need to face danger with wits, because it's like, uh-oh, sensors are beep, 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 magnetic storm incoming. So I have to find a place to try to hide and ride that out. So I'm going to face danger with wits, because this is with expertise, focus, or observation. And I'm going to roll +2. All right, so that gives me a 6. That's not bad. Plus, I have a lot of momentum right now. So let's roll our challenge dice. An 8 and a 10. Okay, so that means that my let me double check if my momentum of 8, can I burn an 8, or is it only burning lower than that? I think, let's see. My God, there we go. momentum. There we go. Burning momentum when, let's see. When you have positive, you can replace your action score with the current momentum value. Okay, that's different than it was in Ironsworn. Okay, so you can replace the action score with the current momentum value. But no, but a match still, it's lost. So this is basically, even if I tried to burn momentum, this would still be a miss. So, okay, so I was trying to face danger with wits and got a miss. So let's see. On a miss, you fail or a momentary success is undermined by a dire turn of events. Pay the price. So if we're paying the price from this magnetic storm, I think maybe what makes sense, because where was it? I just suffer moves. Where was pay the price? There we go. Pay the price. I could roll, but I am actually thinking that maybe what makes sense here is that my companion survey bot takes some damage. So I'm gonna say that my little guy, my survey bot, I haven't named him. I have to think of a name for him. Takes some damage, so his current health goes down from 3 to 2. As the magnetic storm rolls through and kind of gives me some fries his circuits a little bit. Poor little guy. Okay, so let's, and I did not reach a new waypoint. So let's try one more waypoint, or, try to make progress one more time before trying to arrive at this destination. So once again, I'm sending the slightly fried, slightly cooked survey bot out. And so that gives me +1. Oh, you know what? I shouldn't be doing that +1 over and over again, because that was just from my secure and advantage the first time. So, okay, so just +2 for wits and +1 with the survey bot gives me 7. And now the challenge dice. Oh no! So it's 2 9s, which means it's another miss, but it's also a match. So when it's a match, okay, so when we get a miss for undertaken exploration, on a miss you are waylaid by a crisis or arrive at a waypoint to confront an immediate hardship or threat. I need to pay the price again. Okay, so let's pay the price, and let's roll on the Oracle this time to see what happens this time. That this and it needs to be worse, right? Not just needs to not just be a pay the price, but like something even more dramatic. Why is my I'm struggling a little bit with my my Adobe here. I need a better place to pull open these PDFs. What? Okay, this is, I don't. My computer has a lot of memory. I don't know why it thinks that it's out of memory. Okay, let's see. You know what? I am going to just close that and try opening it. Let's see how this goes, if this is any better. Okay. So gonna add okay. Maybe this will Yeah, okay. There we go. Hopefully this will work a little better. Um, okay, and then get the rule book up here as well. Okay. All right. So what was I just doing? So when there's matches, rolling matches. So when I have a miss, the match should represent a heightened negative outcome, complication, or new peril. Things get worse in an unexpected way. Here, I can make this bigger on the screen. So I need a complication beyond just paying the price somehow. Let's see. What complication? By the way, those of you watching in chat, feel free to chime in. Like, I certainly don't mind you just lurking and watching if that's your preference. But also feel free to chime in if you have thoughts or suggestions. So let's see if we've got a. Oh, yeah, so Prince Justin saying, thought you were being too loud last time, being quiet. I would say don't worry about that. Makes it fun for me to have it be group participation. Not that it's not fun anyway. But let's see. I'm just looking at. I don't know if there was. I'm trying to remember if there was an oracle for complications specifically. Let's see, sightings, spaceborne peril. Okay, yeah. I think we probably have a planet-side peril because we had planet-side opportunities. Yeah, there we go. So in addition to, so we'll have to pay the price because we got a miss, but let's also roll on our initial oracle here to tell us. So we're rolling on the lifeless table. Okay, and a 2. So a 2 is life is revealed or takes an unexpected form. Okay. So I was rolling on lifeless despite the fact that we were looking for this strange grass because it seemed lifeless except for that grass. But maybe what this means is that I find some of this grass, but it is not actually what I thought, or it's associated with something else. Okay, so let's figure out what that means. We have some like creature. Grass is actually cilia. Yeah, like that's kind of what I was thinking, is that like I find some. So here's what I want to just make sure that we don't mess up in terms of the fiction, is that if it was really just something like theoretically this grass is something that like has been being harvested by this place because they make the medicine. So like they would theoretically know it if it was as obvious as like, oh, the grass is just, although it could be that maybe maybe what it is it's as simple as like whatever the grass does this time is not what it always does. So like I have found some grass that was not at the derelict ship because I didn't make it to that location, but I have found something else. So we could, yeah, so let's see. We could, or for that matter, what we had just talked about is that this grass was used to make medicine to clear up Wuggler infections, right? These parasitic rodent-like things. So maybe there's a connection there, and that I have, like, because, like, it could be like that's what they would eat. No, that doesn't really make sense. So like this you know what? Let's just roll on some oracles and see um, what it offers. Um, that well, actually, no. Let's see. Okay, so let's roll a generic oracle to try to tell us, is the unexpected thing that the grass is not just for medicine for the Wugglers, but it's also related to them in some other way, or if it's actually related to some other creature. All right, let's try just rolling for that. Lower 50, if it's related to the Wugglers directly. Upper 50, it's related to something else, and it's only medicine as far as the Wugglers are concerned. Okay, so it's lower 50, which means that somehow these things, yeah, maybe it's part of their life cycle somehow, right? Like, maybe these things, even though they present as mammalian, maybe the grass is like sort of a, like, not a pupal stage, but like that's kind of how they reproduced before. Like, no one had ever been able to figure out how they reproduced before, right? Because what they do is they attach, and they seem to like thrive and survive by attaching to people, but it always seemed like a bizarre life cycle because they didn't reproduce that way. They just do it, almost like it's a coincidental behavior. So maybe the grass is just like the above the surface element of a pupal form of these things underneath the surface, and that the grass is something that they only have when they're at that stage, because it protects them from it. It's what allows them to get energy from the magnetic fields of the neutron star. And so the grass, once they transform into their later life cycle, that they don't need that anymore, and it becomes toxic to them once they metamorphize. Okay, so what I think maybe that means is that I find some of this grass, but there's peril because, well, see, because we've discovered something related to the nature of what these things are and how they work, but we still need to make this a new peril. Like, this, it can't just be, oh, isn't that interesting? It's dangerous. So maybe what I come across, so maybe what it is it's not that I find some of the grass I need, it's that I find some of where I can see the grass being shed away and dying because the new form of them is being generated. And so I find like a clump of these writhing, wiggling, multi-jointed creatures that seem to be an in-between point between the under-the-ground plant-like thing and the mammalian things, and I see them like emerging from the ground. So I can't get the grass I need from it, but I understand what's happening a bit more. I like that, but of course, it's also going to attack me, I think, right? It's going to be a little swarm of dangerous little creatures coming at me. So let's make a new progress tracker. Swarm of proto-wugglers. All right. And because like one of these things would, I think, be like trivial. Like if they're not attached to me and I'm in my environment suit, like I think if it was just one of these, I would just like stomp on it. But it's a bunch of them, so I think that's going to make it a troublesome progress track. Okay. But I'm not especially a great fighter here. So I stumble across this thing and it reacts to the energy being given off by my presence, by these things sort of burst. Like I'm imagining almost like an egg sac that has kind of like I can see the grass withering off the top of it as it's like bursting forth, with these tiny little proto-wugglers all squirming out to my direction, trying to seek out the thermal energy and electrical energy from me and my vehicle and my survey bot and everything. So yeah, okay, that's great. So I guess we're fighting a bunch of these little proto-wuggler things, or I could just try to get away. I think in this context, that's probably what I would do, right? Like I don't have any particular reason to just hold my ground here and kill all of these little things. That's not my objective, and I'm out there on a support vehicle, so I certainly have to face danger to try to get away from them. But I don't think I need to just fight them until they're done. So in this case, though, I think face danger is going to need to initially be with iron, to try to, strength, endurance, or aggression. No, you know what? I take it back. So the options here, if I'm trying to face danger with speed, mobility, or agility, that's edge. And I think if I suddenly see a bunch of things coming at me and I try to run away on my vehicle, that seems like that's trying to face danger with speed, mobility, or agility. So let's D6. And I have a bunch of momentum, so maybe that'll help me out here, even though edge is not my best thing. So let's, wow, so I rolled a 6, got for a total of 7, and let's see what the challenge dice offer me. Okay, so a 1 and a 6. That means that I got a strong hit. On a strong hit, I am successful. Take 1 momentum. Nice. Doing well with the momentum right now. And so I am successful in trying to evade for the moment. I think in this context, all that has done for me is I have managed to like get onto my little hover bike and scoot away. Although that doesn't necessarily mean all the danger has passed. It means that I am, I just managed to evade the initial assault. So let's see. I think, yeah. So I think they're maybe following me. So I want to try to lose them. And so if I'm facing danger with deception, stealth, or trickery, I roll plus shadow. So that's what happened, is that I managed to get away from the initial attack, but now I'm going to try to lose their pursuit. And so I'm going to roll with shadow, which is plus 2. Okay, I rolled a 5 plus 2 for 7. That's pretty good. And then the challenge dice, a 7 and an 8. So that would be a miss, but I have enough momentum that I can burn it and make that, if my action score is a 9, that means it would make it a strong hit. So burning momentum takes it all the way back down to my reset of plus 2. And so, but with a strong hit, I am successful, so I take 1 momentum and I get a plus 1. All right. Whew. That was close. We've discovered something really interesting about the nature of these critters. So maybe that's something that could be useful in the long run, because people didn't seem to know that about it, or at least no one who knew it told me. But now I still need to get to the location where I can try to harvest some of this grass before it turns into proto-wugglers that try to attack me. So let's try once again, get my little survey bot out and see if I can get us a little further along. So once again, I'm rolling plus wits with an additional +1 to try to see if I can find this location. So I'm rolling d6 +2, which is my wits, and then +1 for my survey bot. All right, that's pretty good. I rolled a 6, +3 is 9 for the challenge dice, an 8 and a 7. So that's a strong hit. Great. Perfect. Okay, so with a strong hit on Undertaken Expedition, I reach another waypoint. I envision the location and I mark progress again. So in this context, I'm going to see if this. Oops. So now I'm almost all the way there, and at this waypoint, let's see. I think I have found that I can see the profile of the ship in the distance as I'm kind of taking a breather, looking around. And sure enough, I think I'm going to go ahead and just try to finish the expedition. And so when I finish an expedition and score a hit for my explorer, I get an extra tick on the discoveries track. So let's finish an expedition to get to arrive at my location. You know what? I wonder, I'm just thinking about it now. I wonder if an expedition like this, where my intention is to go somewhere and then come back. Oh, well, you know what? That makes sense, because if I'm charting a course, like I'm going through unfamiliar territory, but then coming back, I can set a course because I know the land that way. I think that makes sense. Okay. So I'm going to try to finish an expedition, and so what that means is that instead of rolling the action die, I'm rolling against my progress. And so I have filled 9 of the 10. So basically my action score is 9. I'm going to roll my challenge dice to see how I do in finishing an expedition. 2 and 8, which means that I got a strong hit on finishing an expedition. Perfect. So because I'm an explorer, I will mark 1 extra tick on my Discovery's Legacy track. But let's see what it says in strong hit here. Oops. Okay, so on a strong hit, you reach your destination or complete your survey. Mark a reward on your Discovery's Legacy track per the expedition's rank. So because this was just a troublesome expedition, it's going to be 1 tick, but I mark 1 extra tick on discoveries. Okay, so what that means is that I'm going to say over here, I've got 2 ticks now in discoveries. And what that means for anyone who didn't join our session 0 is that when I fill this box, which means 4 ticks in this box, I get 2 experience, and I can use that to either upgrade assets or buy new assets. Okay, great. So I have arrived. My expedition was to where I can find this medicine grass and this derelict ship. So I can clear that one. And so there's a bunch of stuff related to the derelict ships. So I think while I'm here, I find some of the grass. Let's see. We could say after all of that the grass is just like, I just get it. Like there's some grass and I just harvest it. But I think what I know now about it, let's maybe make it a little bit more tricky. Let's say I'm going to roll it as a secure an advantage to gain the when I assess a situation, make preparations or attempt to gain leverage. Or let's see. You know what? Actually, maybe it makes sense for it to be face danger instead. That makes sense in this context because I know that the grass is hypothetically potentially dangerous now if it's advanced enough. So, but I think this will be another one where if I face danger by calling on the ascendancy, to grant me the wisdom to see that all this physical reality is, it's not that we don't have to deal with it, but that we don't have to let it define our existence, and to give me wisdom to find some of the grass and to harvest it safely. And also that represents facing the danger with resolve, command, or sociability. With resolve in this context, I think is like, I'm a little bit scared of this grass now, but I've made a promise to get some of it. I'm going to get it, and so I'm going to roll that face danger. And so this is a little bit what I was talking about earlier, too, about the idea of whether you're nice to yourself or mean to yourself in this game. Because I could just say, well, I went through a lot of trouble just to get here to where I can pick the grass. I just go pick it, and I think that would be fine. But let's try it. Okay, we only got a 1 on the challenge die, or on the action die, so that's a total of 4. And let's see what our 2d10, and then it was a 6 and a 10 on the on the challenge die. So that means that our face danger was a miss. So our momentary success is undermined by a dire turn of events, and pay the price. Okay, well, let's see what the Oracle has for us on pay the price. Let's see, why is my attempt to get this grass undermined? 68. My vehicle suffers damage. Okay. Yeah, okay. So we could interpret that as like my my survey bot takes damage, but maybe it makes more sense that my so I'm sitting there, I'm picking the grass, and I'm saying, whew, and then all of a sudden my hover bike behind me kind of just goes, oh no. So yeah, okay, I think that's what happens, is that I have procured the grass, but now my bike that I got out here with is malfunctioning. Yeah, that's no good. But because I established previously that getting the grass is one of the milestones for the quest, I'm going to mark the progress there. I had I'm going to delete all of that stuff. And I'm going to represent that this is now you know what? I'm going to I need a better way to do this. This needs to be, I can't wait for there to be the official Roll20 thing. So I'm just going to say we have filled up 6 boxes of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. And so we have 6 boxes full there, but I'm still stuck out in the middle of this place with my bike malfunctioning. But there is this derelict ship here. I think probably, though, my first um, I think my, let's see, what makes sense as a role to try to fix my hover bike, right? We could potentially say I'm securing advantage with expertise, focus, or observation. We could maybe check my gear to see if I have a specific helpful item or resource, like a tool to fix it with. Let's see. What you know? What? Let's say that I vaguely recall something like when I was so excited checking out this hover bike as I started to borrow it. There's a vague sense that somewhere in the background was the guy saying, "Oh yeah, and if the magnetic storm fries out the inductance capacitor, you're going to want to have a spare of that." And so let's check my gear to see if I have the spare, that I need in order to fix the hover bike. So let's see. I'm rolling supply, and my supply is at 4 right now. So roll 1d6 plus 4. That's 7 total. And my challenge dice, a 4 and a 5. Okay, so that's a strong hit. Whew. I vaguely recall that whole conversation, and then I say, whew, good thing I brought one then. And I pull the thing out of my bike. And so I am able to restore my hover bike to working order, thank goodness. But now I'm also here, while I'm here at this ship, this derelict ship, let's take a look at it. Let's see. We got derelicts. All right, so we already know it's a planet-side derelict. So let's roll an oracle. We know it's a derelict starship and on planet side because we decided those things already. So now let's roll an oracle to see what kind of state it's in. 51 tells us that it is cold and dark. Okay, so let's get we've got an oracle to see what it looks like on the outside. 42, there are hazardous readings. Okay, hazardous readings. So that tells me that maybe like there's a reactor leak or something like that. Maybe this explains why they wouldn't people hadn't checked it out before. But does that mean that it is actually dangerous to explore it, or is it just something that, like with my environment suit, like I need to just make sure that I don't stay too long? I think that maybe makes sense. So we can take that. We can let that come into play later if we run into trouble that keeps us here longer. Okay, so exploring a derelict. Derelicts are broken into zones for primary areas and functions. When you envision moving from one section to another while exploring a derelict, you may choose to roll on the zone chart on the opposite page to help you identify what you find. Okay. Okay. So let's find a breach in this place and take a little look at see what it looks like inside. So we're going to roll 2 percentile dice on this inner first look. So we got 2 and 11. Abnormal gravity and automated announcements. Okay, so maybe I see sort of like a breach in the hull, and but we established cold and dark, so maybe whatever is still making the automated announcements, like I step in and all of a sudden, whoa, I'm like floating, and I hear a little announcement echoing through the corridors, distorted. It's like, take caution, automated gravity generator malfunctioning. And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. So that's awkward to begin with. but I want to explore it a little bit. So let's roll on the starship Derelict zone to tell me what area I have just entered in as I come in through this breach. 13. 13 would be engineering. Okay. And so we've got another page for engineering. So let's see. Let's roll an area, a feature, a peril, and an opportunity. And so, yeah, that seems good. I'm going to roll 4. Actually, hang on. Let me just briefly scan this instructions again here. So, you know, you may choose on roll on the zone chart to help identify what you find. If that's enough detail, stop rolling and envision the nature of those spaces. So, roll a feature if you want to reveal new aspects of your current surroundings. Best used sparingly. A bit of extra detail or ambiance. Peril is when you want envisioning a complication. Opportunity is what you want. Oh, okay, I see. So instead of just rolling those by default, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's see, I think there's moves for, I could make this exploring the ship an expedition, but then there's also explore a waypoint. Yeah, you know what? Let's make this an expedition to investigate this ship, and I'll go ahead and have it be a troublesome expedition. And let's also we have a starship named Oracle, so let's find out what this starship name is. So I am exploring the derelict wreck of 59. The Outward Bound. Okay, cool. Expedition through the wreck of the Outward Bound. That's kind of interesting and ironic that I'm exploring the interior of the grounded Outward Bound. All right. So I am going to reprogram my survey bot for interiors of a ship, and let's undertake an expedition. I think, let me just briefly. We said already that I was entering in engineering. So before I even roll the undertake expedition, you know what? No, let's have this be the start of it. So I'm going to roll undertake expedition, and I'm rolling with wits +1 because my survey bot. So my wits gives me +2, and then the survey bot is an additional 1. So rolling 1d6 +2 +1. Oops, +1. So that's showing a result of 6. Should actually be a 7 because it doesn't have my +1 in there. And so challenge dice. 4 and a 2. Okay, great. So that means that I got a strong hit on my undertaken expedition. So on a strong hit, I'm going to mark progress. And that represents me envisioning the location. And so now we will say, I get my progress. I'm gonna do the box again on this. So I fill 3 boxes, and now I am exploring the waypoint of engineering. So let's roll for an area and a feature. 72 and 48. So the area So in engineering, this is the water processing part of the ship. And 48, it has some jury-rigged equipment in there. I wonder if that's maybe part of why it went down, is that they were trying to repair the water processing and it didn't work very well. All right, so I have an explore a waypoint move. So I'm going to explore this area a little bit, and I've got plus wits to do that. But also, because I'm an explorer, when I explore a waypoint, I take +1 momentum on a hit. All right, so let's roll plus wits. 1d6 plus 2. I got a 3 plus 2 for 5. It's not the best. And then the challenge dice, a 4 and an 8. So that means I got a weak hit. A weak hit. And yeah, my momentum is just still at +4. So with a weak hit on Explore Waypoint, I uncover something interesting, but it is bound up in a peril or reveals an ominous aspect of this place. Envision what you encounter and then take +1 momentum. Okay, so my Explorer says that on a hit, which includes a weak hit, I take an additional +1 momentum. Sorry, my dog is fussing at my leg here, saying hello. So I'm going to take +2 momentum. That's nice. But now, now what I have got is I'm going to roll both an opportunity and a peril. I find something interesting, but it's bound up in a peril. Great. So let's roll 2 percentile dice. Wow, 141. So for peril, I'm going to roll twice on the peril table. Okay. The 41 was going to be for opportunity, though. So helpful plans or schematics, but now I have to roll 2 more times for perils. 50 and 16. So 50 is a precarious or broken path. 16 is erratic utility bots. Okay. So I think in this engineering section, it's water processing and jury-rigged equipment. The erratic utility bots, maybe that's why there's jury-rigged equipment, is because there's these bots that are still trying to fix it. But because the ship is crashed and is, depleted resources, they are trying to fix it with all sorts of weird things. And maybe they see me and my survey bot as, potential resources for them to perform their repairs. And so if I were to try to face danger, I would need to, unless I'm not trying to fight and destroy these utility bots, but I do need to avoid them. So I think what makes sense here is that I'm going to need to face danger once for the utility bots and face danger once for the precarious or broken path. And so precarious or broken path probably has to be face danger edge, right? Or maybe if I think of it like I'm carefully looking in advance of where I need to go and where I need to stand and what will support my weight and everything, maybe I can face danger with wits for the precarious or broken path, and then shadow to try to evade the utility bots. So let's try that to see if I can get those schematics. So first, I'm rolling with wits to try to see if I can find a way to get to the schematics safely. All right, so that's a 5 plus 2 for 7. And then our challenge dice. Ooh, a 10 and an 8, which means that that's a miss for the... that's a miss on my face danger. Let's see. That's a miss on face danger is I fall or momentary success is undermined by a dire turn of events. How about this? Is that I discover I discover that the only way to get to the schematics is going to take me right in the path of those utility bots. So essentially, there's no second roll for evading the utility bots. I have to just choose. And maybe, I'll go ahead and push myself and say, you know what? Like, the bots, they spotted me in terms of me trying to find this path. So I found a way, but the bots have spotted me, and so now I've got deranged utility bots going to try to steal my stuff so that they can try to keep fixing the water processing jury-rigged equipment. But also, remember that the gravity is funky, so let's just keep that in mind as we sort of envision this scenario. But so now, I want to try to get those schematics. So let's say that these utility bots, maybe just one instead. So I'm gonna, deranged utility bot. And so I'm gonna, it's common for me now. So now I'm gonna fight it because I haven't really done any of that so far, and I'm not great at it. But let's say, so now it's coming for me. When I initiate combat or are forced into a fight, I envision my objective, your deranged utility bot, and I give it a rank troublesome because these things are not designed for fighting, but neither am I. Then roll to see if I am in control of the fight. And I like the phrasing of it, the way they phrase the rules of that. Instead of trying to use the initiative term that they used in Ironsworn, which kind of was a little confusing because it's different than what initiative means in other games. But they call it either having control or being in a tight spot. And I think that terminology just works a lot better. So we have to roll to see if I'm in control first. So I think I am, I'm resolved. I am facing off against my foe. You know what? It's like, okay, it spotted me. I'm just going to have to do it. So I'm going to roll with heart to square off against this thing, which means 1d6 plus 3. And I got a 4 on the die, so for a total of 7. That's not so bad. My challenge dice, 7 and an 8. So that's actually still a miss. Okay, so what that means is on a miss, the fight begins with me in a bad spot. So what that means now is that I can attempt to... So there's a move called Gain Ground. I'm just looking at the screen here. I want to try to make as much of it visible on screen. Okay. There's a move called Gain Ground that I can only do when I'm in control. There's React Under Fire, which is when I'm in a bad spot and I take action in a fight to avoid danger or overcome an obstacle. And then there's Strike, which is when I'm in control and I'm trying to do damage. Or there's Clash when I'm in a bad spot and I'm fighting back in close quarters. So I think what happens is that I am just about to try to take this thing on when the gravity shifts again, and suddenly we're all gently drifting towards what was one of the walls before, and belatedly echoing through the hallway is like, please hold on to something, gravity change imminent. And so now I think I'm in a bad spot, and I have to take action to avoid, to overcome this obstacle. So I'm going to react under fire. And so if I am remaining stalwart, I would roll for heart. If I was in pursuit, fleeing, dodging, or getting back into position, or taking cover, that would be edge. Blocking or diverting with force would be iron. Moving into hiding or creating a distraction would be shadow. Changing the plan, finding a way out, or cleverly bypassing an obstacle, roll plus wits. I think that's what I'm doing at this point, because I had just studied trying to say, okay, what areas will hold weight or can be that I can fit through. So I'm going to try react under fire with wits, which is a +2. So, oh great, I rolled a 6 on the die, so that's a total of 8. my challenge die, a 7 and a 4. Great. So that's a strong hit for react under fire. I succeed and I am in control. Take +1 momentum. Perfect. Perfect. Now I've got my momentum up at +7. So now that I'm in control, I can, let's see, I can try to gain ground. Yeah, so maybe that's what makes more sense, is that I'm not, like, if I strike, I'm just not good at fighting, because ranged fighting is with edge, melee fighting is with iron. Those are my two worst stats. I think I'm going to try to gain ground with my control and try to get to where the schematics are, even though this thing is pursuing me. So if I am coordinating a plan, studying a situation, or cleverly gaining leverage, roll plus wits. Yeah, I'm trying to outthink this thing and just get around it to where I need to go. So I'm rolling 1d6 plus 2. That's a 6. So could be worse, could be better. And let's get those challenge dice. It's a 4 and a 10, which means that I can't beat the 10 even with momentum. So that's a weak hit on gain ground. So on a hit, I stay in control. But on a weak hit, so if it was a strong hit, I would either make progress. So I have 3 choices. Make progress, take +2 momentum, or add +1 on your next move. And if I got a strong hit, I could choose 2 of those 3. On a weak hit, I can only choose 1. So I think in this context, what I will do is I will make progress on my threat bar here. So I'm gonna say what I did is I used my knowledge of the path ahead and the way it was behaving, and the shifting gravity to sort of spring away from it and kind of kick off of it, kicking it into the wall, doing some damage to it. And so I do stay in control, which is good. And so I think that maybe gets me to the relative vicinity of these schematics. Excuse me, I'm burping. So I'm going to try gaining ground again to see if I can procure these schematics. But I think in this context, like, as much as I would like to just keep using wits because it's a better stat, I think maybe it makes sense in this context. You know what? Like retrieving schematics, like I saw them from across the room, right? Like, so that's how I knew they were there. So these have to be things that are visible. But I'm going to say if I am if I just kicked off in shifting gravity and now I'm trying to stop myself at, like the last move was to get past the thing. Now I have to get to where the schematics are. So I think that's going to need to be edge to try to precisely guide my positioning. So I'm rolling 1d6 plus my edge score, which is only +1. But I have a lot of momentum. Oh, okay, so that's a 1 + 1 for a total of 2. Challenge dice, 6 and a 2. But I can burn momentum because I currently have a momentum of 7. So if I take my momentum back down to my reset, I can turn that into a strong hit. And what that would let me do is I can make progress and either take +2 momentum back or get a +1 on my next move. All right, great. I'm gonna, oops. Let's get rid of that one. Let's just make this one bigger. This box. Okay, so I've made progress, and I'm going to take an extra +1 on my next move, which is to say that I've now gotten to where the schematics are and grabbed them, but now I have to get by this thing again in order to escape with the schematics that might be useful, and we'll have to figure out what they could be used for later. So those, let's see. So for example, what I could do right now is I could choose to try to take decisive action, which would roll with my 6 out of 10 progress bar here. And if I were to succeed, that would just end the conflict. But if I only get a weak hit, I have to have some cost. But if I miss, you know what? Let's try it, because I could do another move to try to, to try to get by it again and mark progress again, and then have a much better chance of succeeding on taking, decisive action. But let's see if I can just go ahead and, you know what? No, I think it makes more sense to do what I've been doing. I've stayed in control, and so I am going to go ahead and try to once again get by this thing, but I think in this context I'm going to try to misdirect it. I'm going to try to bullfight this thing where it's sort of charging towards me, and I'm going to try to just evade it at the last second and send it tumbling past me into where it'll get tangled in some loose wires, some of this jury-rigged equipment. So that is going to be, I'm rolling with Shadow, which is also a +2. But I only got a 2 +2 for 4. It's not great. Let's roll those challenge dice. A 9 and a 2, which means that I got a weak hit. Okay, so a weak hit still gives me, I stay in control. I can mark progress again and get that progress up to 9. Great. And then I can choose to, I can't choose take +1 on next move. Oh, you know what? I actually should have had another +1 on there. That's what I had previously said I was going to do, but then I didn't add it, but it wouldn't have changed the result. But I marked progress, and that's what I did. So that was my choice already for this one. But now that I'm in control and I have 9 out of 10 on the progress, I'm going to try to seize the objective in the fight. Now that I'm going to try to finish this thing. Now that I have, I kind of ducked around past it. I got it partially tangled in these cords. I'm going to try to just finish this thing. Now, so what I'm doing is I'm just rolling the challenge dice, and my action score is a 9 because it's a progress move. Okay, it's a 9 and a 1, which means that it's a weak hit. A weak hit on take decisive action. You achieve your objective, but not without cost. So I can roll out of the on the table below or choose one. But let's go ahead and roll. 69, nice. Others pay the price. Someone else suffers the cost. Well, I mean, I think what makes sense there, right, is that I maybe... oh, you know what? Maybe what happens is... let's see. Maybe what happens as I kick this malfunctioning utility bot into the wires, and it starts sort of like it ends up getting electric shocked, and I am trying to flee away from it, but when it explodes, my poor little survey bot was too close and takes more damage. Yeah. My poor little survey bot's getting beat up on this trip. I'm going to need to be careful and get him fixed. I need to look up what those moves are for repair. Yeah, so there's a move for repair. You know what? That's actually probably what I should have done for the hover bike earlier. But that's all right. We'll deal with that as it comes. Okay, so actually, let's see. Let me see if I can take a moment to fix my little buddy here a little bit. Well, actually, so basically, I'm trying to repair, and there's different results depending on whether I'm at a facility, in the field, or under fire. Well, I'm not under fire, but I am in the field. So let's see. If I want to try to make my own repairs, then I'm going to roll plus wits. So let's do it. Roll 1d6 plus 2. So that's a 4 plus 2 for 6, and then the challenge dice, a 1 and a 4. Great, so that's a strong hit. So in the field, a strong hit lets me repair up to 3 points of integrity. That's great. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Perfect. So I take a moment with my little survey bot, and I feel like, you know what? I still need to give the little survey bot a name. Gosh. I'll think about it some more, but I'm not there yet. So, okay, so now I have gone, I've explored one waypoint of my, of this derelict ship, and I have obtained some schematics that maybe were just valuable. So let's see. I wonder. Let's roll on some of the generic. Well, actually, what makes sense is that these would be schematics for the Outward Bound, the ship that is wrecked, right? Like that's what it makes sense for them to be. So I'll just assume that's what it is. And so I might have to look around to see who might be willing to give me something for those later. Or for that matter, maybe my shipwright friend. Or maybe they're schematics for a module that I could potentially get if I get enough experience. But in any case, let's continue our expedition through the ship here. So we're undertaking expedition. I'm rolling with wits plus my survey bot, so that's 1d6 plus 2 plus 1 to continue into the Outward Bound. All right, so I ended up with a 5 score against a 4 and a 7, so that's a weak hit, which means that I reach a waypoint and make progress, but it costs me. So I have to either face a peril or suffer moves, 2 suffer moves. So let's, I just faced a peril, and I might have more peril in here as I explore. So let's do 2 suffer moves in this context. So let's suffer, like I'm already at, my momentum is already at reset here. So let's say that my supply is getting a little low. Like my life support systems on my suit is having to work overtime because of the hazardous readings in here. So maybe I lose 1 supply, and I'm getting a little creeped out exploring this derelict ship. It's like something about it's just sort of getting under my skin. I'm feeling a little uncomfortable with it. So I lose momentum, and not lose momentum. That's not what I did. So I sacrificed resources, so I suffered -1 supply, and I'm going to endure stress. So I'm suffering minor stress -1 spirit, but I can then roll plus spirit or heart, whichever is higher. Right now, heart, spirit's still +4. So let's roll 1d6 plus 4. That's a total of 6, and then the 2d10, a 10 and a 7. So that's a miss on my endure stress. On a miss, it's worse than you thought. Either suffer an additional -1 spirit, or lose 2 momentum, or I can roll on the table. Oh no, I roll on the table below if only if I'm already at 0. So I think, yeah, I'm going to suffer an additional stress here. Just something about this place. Ugh, ooh, it's creeping me out. But you know what? Maybe I'll explore this little area here. So let's explore another waypoint here. So we are. I am exploring a waypoint. If I get a hit, I will take an additional momentum. So I'm rolling plus wits. Hang on. My survey bot. Yeah, this is only for undertaken expedition. So roll 1d6 plus 2. That's only a 4. That's not optimal. And then against a 5 and a 7. So in this waypoint, it's a miss. So I encounter an immediate hardship or threat and must pay the price. Well, so let's figure out what this next place is, this next waypoint. So as I leave engineering behind, or at least leave water processing behind, 59 on a starship is medical. I find myself in the medical section of the ship. And so in medical, let's roll what area within medical it is and a feature for it. And so 77 and 79. So 77 for area it's a ward or a clinic on this ship. And then 79 for a feature is medical records or scans. Okay, so yeah, I emerge, through this next corridor into this darkened medical clinic, and maybe there's all of these little sort of clipboards and file folders of medical records that were all in drawers but are now like floating through the artificial gravity, making it kind of partly hard to see in this dark clinic. Oh my gosh, that is super creepy. I just creeped myself out. Think about that, actually. Exploring a like tilted dark medical clinic where all the just like papers and medical records are just like floating randomly through the space, and you're having to like push through it. Oh, that's so cool. But I'm also facing an immediate peril, so let's roll to see what that peril is. 24. Okay. Erratic medical bots. Gosh, I almost want to roll again just because we just faced a bot. I mean, because there's got to be some other kind of peril. I mean, it's got to be peril one way or another. But, yeah, let's roll again. Let's roll again just because we just did a bot. So, 50 is malfunctioning medical equipment. Okay, well, let's see. What would that be? Okay, maybe what equipment would be in this setting, right? Like, because if it's the clinic, but it's like a space sci-fi clinic, gosh, it could be like some sort of an X-ray scanner is giving off radiation. Oh, you know what? Maybe that's what it is that we'd gotten the hazardous readings, and maybe we assumed that it was actually a reactor leak. Yeah, or, suggesting like the medical table in Prometheus. That's pretty cool, too. I feel like that's a little bit more like bots, though. So I'm going to imagine here that what this actually is that I discover my assumption had been that the radiation was maybe from a reactor leak, but what I discover is it's actually that they've got their there's a lot of medical equipment that requires radiation, and that they've got something that's like tapped in, and it's drawing off the reactor but giving off a lot of radiation in this area. And so all of a sudden, as I just kind of poke my head into this clinic, my little my little radiation meter just goes and I'm having to face danger to get away and escape from this intensely radioactive area before before it overwhelms my life support. So that's going to be a face danger for sure. And because it's just a speed thing. So the choice with speed, mobility, or agility, I think that's probably what it would be, even though, like, if I were taking my time with it and not just immediately faced with it, I might do a roll plus wits. But that would be more like, I know that up there is a lot of radiation and I've got to get by it, rather than saying, oh God, I'm exposed right now, I need to get away. So I'm going to face danger with edge, which is not my best stat. That's only +1. So let's roll. Rolled a 2 + 1 for 3. That's not going to be great. So our challenge dice are 9 and a 4. So, okay, that's definitely a miss. So that means that I have to pay the price. So I think maybe one of the obvious ways that this could play out, right? Pay the price says either you make the most obvious negative outcome happen, or you could ask the Oracle. But I think based on the peril that we just established, I think maybe I just, I'm going to take a hit to my health. Some of the radiation gets through, and I'm going to, need to heal from that a bit. I think it's, space medicine, so like it's something that can be healed from. But I think, yeah, I'm, having to get by on, like, my life support is just having to really work overtime, and I'm having to get by on, yeah, maybe that's what it is that in order to, to keep going, I have to ration my oxygen, and so I'm having to get by on a little less, and I'm, and I hurt myself a little bit getting away. Okay, so, well, let's not explore this medical clinic anymore. And hang on, so that last roll in expedition was a miss, I think, right? We didn't even. So I was exploring. Because I think it was a miss when I did roll expedition, so I didn't even get to the point of. Oh wait, no, I made progress and then explored, but I don't think I didn't. Yeah, okay, so I think that's what it was, is that I didn't mark the progress for that last one, because this was the second waypoint, and it was exploring that I missed. I believe that's what it was. Let's see if I can find on here. Yeah, see, it doesn't label them with the current setup. I think that's what happened. So I'm going to try to undertake an expedition once more to try to get on to see what else there is to find that's not just totally ruined in this area. So I'm rolling plus wits plus survey bot. That's a 2 + 2 + 1 for 5. Could be better. And then an 8 and a 9 on the challenge dice. So that's another miss with undertaken expedition. And I am waylaid by a crisis, or I arrive. Oh, you know what? That is what it was. And so that's that. So the medical thing didn't count as a waypoint. So my progress was still at 3. That's definitely what it was. So, and now that's happened again. So let's see. I want to. Hang on, let's see. So on a miss, I do not mark progress. So that's what it was. So okay, so I'm gonna once again say I run headlong to out of that clinic to some other medical area, we'll say, because I'm just running as fast as I can to get away from that. So oh gosh, and I run straight to the crematorium. Okay. Yeah. And in the crematorium, let's roll a new peril. 82. Signs of broken quarantine. Oh, gosh. Um, Thankfully, I'm in an environment suit, huh? But I recognize, oh gosh, what I'm seeing is a bunch of, yeah, maybe what I find is like there's a bunch of bodies that were obviously like set up to be burned and are like covered with lots of like signs that say like biohazard, and it's clear that they were going to be burned and didn't get to be burned. Okay, yeah, that's super creepy. Um, I am going to I'm going to face danger with heart. I'm going to basically pray to the ascendancy to help me out. To uh, help me out to get past this whole uh, this this current struggle. So when I'm going to roll plus heart this is a face danger roll, and I'm rolling plus heart in order to try to rely on my faith to give me strength to not panic in this situation. Okay, I got a 3 plus 3, and then the challenge dice 9 and an 8, so that's a miss. Ugh. Okay. So face danger with a miss, I believe I just pay the price. Yeah, so I'm having a hard time. Face danger on a miss, I believe, is pay the price. Let's, yeah. And so I think the most obvious in this section is that I'm in my environment suit, so it's like, I don't think I'm actually at risk right now from the whatever this quarantine was, but it just creeps me out. It really just develops that feeling that unpleasant feeling I was already having. So that's another hit to my spirit, which leaves me only at +2 for that right now. So that's rough. Okay, so let's see, what happens if I want to just like abandon my expedition here? Let's see. So basically, finishing an expedition lets me tick boxes on my discoveries. You know what? Let's see. I think actually I run back out of the crematorium, and I'm panicking a little bit. I'm struggling, but then let's see. I want to try to. Let's see. If I try to hearten, that would like I get away from the the current immediate danger, and I'm kind of trying to just decide, what do I do? Like, what, do I leave? Do I try to strengthen myself and move on? And so I think I'm going to try this hearten move. When you find a moment of peace, roll plus heart. And this is like, I'm going to try to recover some spirit. It's a little bit, it's like kind of like the equivalent of like battlefield medicine. So I'm rolling plus heart. Oh, that's only a 2 plus 3 for 5. Against a 10 and a 2, which means it's a weak hit. Could have been worse. So on a strong hit, you find companionship or comfort, and your soul is strengthened, your spirit is strengthened. But on a weak hit, it's as above, but the indulgence is fleeting. Envision interruption, complication, or inner conflict. Okay. So, and then I lose momentum. So basically, I still can regain 2 spirit, but I lose 1 momentum. Okay, yeah. So I think what happens is that I take a moment and I think about this. I rededicate myself. Like, I am on a like holy mission, and it's not so much like this specific ship that I need to do, but it's important that I survive and that I keep getting through this, and I need to be able to face these sorts of dangers. So I recover a little bit, but then I get the little bing, bing, bing. It reminds me, oh shoot, yeah, my life support is draining faster than usual in this place, so I need to hurry up. Okay, so I'm going to once again try to get a little farther through this expedition here. So I'm rolling once again, wits +1 for my survey bot. Oh, yeah, I'm just really rolling low over and over again on these last couple. So that's only 5 against a 7 and a 6. So that's another immediate danger, and that's another miss. So once again, I'm not able to mark progress. And I'm going to once again have peril. So what's another peril here in the medical area, the medical wing? Oops. 46 is malfunctioning medical equipment. We had that already, so let's re-roll that. 49 is also malfunctioning medical equipment. 29 is erratic medical bots. You know what? How about this? You know what? Let's just roll again. 33. Evidence of a virulent disease. Okay, so yeah, I think what this tells me, I think, as I am kind of trying to explore a bit more through this area, is maybe I find myself sort of pushing through in the zero gravity some like broken glassware, and I realize that like just now spreading on the outside of my suit is some samples that for all I know might be highly infectious of some strange disease. So now what I know is that like I'm safe from it for the moment, but I will probably have to decontaminate my suit in some way before I can be willing to expose myself to anyone else. Okay. I think that makes sense right now. That just gives me a future trouble. You know what? I'm determined. I want to get through this. I want to get through this ship. I am an explorer. I have to be able to investigate a derelict starship. So let's try to continue through this expedition. All right, there we go. There we go. So, and I'm trying to tell myself it's a holy mission, except of course, like the holy mission, like the ascendancy, doesn't really have anything to do with this old ship, or does it? It did, was a coincidental. Maybe there's no coincidence here. Maybe like I needed to find that grass, and I found it, but it led me to this, this ship. So, but I rolled a 9, so a 6 + 3 for 9. So let's get those challenge dice. So a 10 and a 1 on the challenge dice, which does mean that it's still only a weak hit. But on a weak hit, I do at least mark progress. Oops. Okay, so for expedition, on undertake an expedition, I do mark progress. We're going to find a new waypoint, but I do have to either face a new peril at the waypoint or just go ahead and suffer something right now. I'm starting to get a little depleted. I think I'm going to envision a new peril, even though, like, we'll see how that goes. All right, so let's figure out a new area that I find myself in. Okay, 53 on a starship is a living area. Okay. So in this living area, there we go. In this living area, let's get some, which area in the living quarters or in which feature, and then a peril that I have to face right away. Okay, 42 is an observation lounge that I find, And in this observation lounge, remains of the dead. Oh my God, this place is so creepy. I mean, it is a derelict starship, I guess, so. But remains of the dead, I'm increasingly starting to think that, like, maybe the water processing wasn't necessarily the problem, or maybe that's how the disease spread, who knows. But my peril that I have to deal with right away, signs that unwelcome invaders now inhabit this place. Oh, okay. Obviously, the remains of the dead are being crawled all over by proto-wugglers. Oh no! Of course, right? Has to be. All right. Okay. So the proto-wugglers sense the energy emanating from my suit and survey bot, and they are, they're going to start pursuing me. And I think, you know what? I think I'm just going to try to like. There's not that many. They're still small. I'm gonna try to just like not run away from this one, to try to recover a little bit of my confidence. So I'm gonna see if I can't face these things down. So I'm going to enter the fray with heart. I need to try to not just run away from everything. So this is going to be proto-wugglers, troublesome. All right, and so I'm entering the fray with heart, which is +3. And I rolled a 2 +3 for 5. So against a 9 and a 10. So yeah, that didn't go so great right away. On a miss, the fight begins with me in a bad spot. So okay, I think I'm going to just I'm just clashing at them right away. They're like they're on me before I was able to really get away. I mean, I tried to face them down, but just they moved so much faster than I expected. So I'm just like, they're all just like jumping all over me, and I'm just trying to smash them away. So I'm clashing, which what that means is that I am rolling plus iron. And we'll see how that goes. Because my iron is not great. So I rolled a 3 +1 for only a 4. The challenge dice are a 2 and a 7. So that means it's a weak hit. So on a weak hit, I mark progress on the proto-wugglers. So let's draw the shape. They're troublesome, so I fill 3 boxes. But I am dealt a counter blow or setback. I stay in a bad spot, and I have to pay the price. So the pay the price, one obvious one could be like they're hurting me in some way, or maybe they're damaging the integrity of my environment suit, which could be really bad. But let's roll the oracle to see if it offers us something that seems good. 37. 37 is something of value is lost or destroyed. The schematics I found, right? Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, I think that's what happens is that, I like, while I am, swatting them away, I manage to, like the little data pad that's got the schematics readout comes out of my bag, flies across the room, and then cracks against the wall, damaging it. Ugh, that stinks. Okay, yeah, and I'm still in a bad spot, so let's see if I can react under fire, because I'm in a bad spot, and I want to try to take action to get away from these things, and to try to get myself into a better position to pick them off instead of just having to, like, I want to get them off of me so that I can try to maybe shoot at them from a distance. So I'm going to react under fire with, this would be moving into hiding or creating a distraction. No. In pursuit, fleeing, dodging, getting back into position. I mean, that's really kind of what I just described. So we're rolling that +1. A 1 + 1. Yikes. Okay, yeah, that's going to be hard to beat. Okay. Oh, but the 2 challenge dice was a 1 and a 4, so even though I only got a 2, that's still a weak hit. Okay. On a weak hit, I succeed, but face a troublesome cost. And I make a 1 suffer move, and I stay in a bad spot. Okay. So I think I managed to put some distance between us. But I still have to suffer, like, yeah, maybe I'm just, like, I'm struggling not to panic again. Yeah, so I'm going to suffer stress. I endure stress. I take -1 spirit, and now I'm going to roll spirit or heart, which are the same in this context, to see how I handle taking more stress from getting away from these things. So that's a 1 + 3 for 4. Against a 3. Or rather, against a 1 and a 2. So the challenge dice were so low that that's actually, even though that's only a 4, that's still a strong hit on endure stress. So either I can shake it off and get my spirit back, or I can embrace the darkness and get +1 momentum. You know what? I think that's what I'm going to do. I need to get my momentum back up to +2. And I think in this case, this is a recognition of, like, I'm going through a trial here. This is a hard time. This is bad, but I need to be able to get through this. Okay, and I'm still in a bad spot. So in this case, I think I'm going to clash. And clash is really just, because I decided that I wasn't going to run away. So, but I'm clashing this time with edge, even though the number isn't any different, because I'm trying to shoot them with, like, I've got a little blaster from a distance rather than just swatting at them on me. Okay, so I rolled a 4 + 1 for 5, and then the challenge dice, a 10 and a 7, so that's a miss. On a miss, your foe dominates this exchange. You stay in a bad spot and must pay the price. Okay, so let's roll for pay the price again. 57. Your equipment or vehicle malfunctions. Now that doesn't make sense in this context. Oh, you know what? Actually, what makes me laugh about that is the idea that I'm in the middle of this tense zero gravity in the dark struggle with these weird little proto-parasitic creatures, and then we briefly cut to the outside of the ship, where once again my hoverbike goes thunk, and then cut back. So I don't even know that happened, but I'll have to repair it again when I get back out. Okay, if I don't die in here. Okay, so I'm still in a bad spot. I think in this context, maybe I do take a moment where I have to say, I need to try to, well, here. So I think secure an advantage. Secure an advantage and face danger. Yeah, so I think those are intended to be non-combat moves, because that's what gain ground and react under fire are for now. That kind of resolves some of the confusion about those moves in combat before. So in this context, I need to kind of try to react under fire again. Because, what I was trying to do doesn't seem like it's working. I need to figure out, I need to change the plan here. I need to try to say, okay, picking them off with the blaster isn't working. Swatting at them isn't working. I need a better plan. maybe what I need to do is to try to, I need to try to, so I'm at 0 gravity, so I need to try to lure them over to where they're clumped in one area, and I can try to like smash them with, but against the wall with a piece of furniture, like a big floating couch or something. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to try to react under fire to get where I can maybe set up that move. So I'm going to say that is changing the plan, so I'm going to roll with wits. That's only a 2 on the roll for +2 for a total of 4, so I'm having a bad time here. Against a 1 and a 5, so that means it's still a weak hit. I succeed, but face a troublesome cost. I make a suffer move and I stay in a bad spot, but I'm potentially like, I get into where I maybe have this piece of furniture that like is, they're coming at me faster than I expected. I have to suffer. Let's see. Yeah, maybe I'm just kind of, I wrench my my shoulder a little bit, trying to get around to where I can try to crush them with this couch. So I get them kind of in position, but they're already kind of trying to like overwhelm that position. And so let's see if I can clash, where I'm fighting back against close quarters and seeing if I can use this big piece of furniture to help me. Rolling 1d6 plus 1. And it's only a 2 on the die. Boy, I'm getting some low rolls for only a 3. Yeah, this is not working. Oh, well, one of the challenge dice is a 1, so again, at least it's a weak hit. And so on a weak hit with clash, I do mark progress. But I am dealt a counter blow or setback. I stay in a bad spot and must pay the price. So I think, I think maybe I'm just having to, like, it's hurting my shoulder a bunch that I injured already. So I just feel like I'm straining that, and so I'm pretty hurt there. But I did make mark progress on there, but I'm still in a bad spot. So maybe I crushed a few of them, but there's still more of them, and it hurt me too. But I'm just gonna try that again. Yeah, I'm just like I feel like I felt some of them squish, so maybe I could just try it again. And this time I rolled a 5 on the die, which is better. So that's a total of 6. And then the challenge dice, a 5 and a 9. So it's another weak hit, which means I do get to mark progress again. So the progress is at 9, which means I'm getting close. Like I've killed I've hurt a bunch of them. They're on the ropes, but I'm still in a bad spot, so this is where I need to be able to, let's see, if I take decisive action. Okay, so if I take decisive action, I still roll progress, but if I'm in a bad spot, I can do it, but it just it counts as a weak hit. Oh, and I still have to pay the price for that last one, right? Yeah, and I'm having to work so hard that it's it's depleting my life support all the more. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm in a rough spot, but I'm getting through it, and I'm going to try to take decisive action. So I'm rolling with a 9 as my action score. So I'm just rolling the challenge dice. So if it would have been a strong hit, it'll only count as a weak hit because I'm in a bad spot. And if it would have been a weak hit, then we'll see. Okay. Oh God, I'm scared. Uh, you know what? I think what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to react under fire rather than take decisive action. I'm going to try to take a moment, even in the chaos of this struggle, to try to reflect on my uh, reflect on my faith. I'm going to try to give myself remaining stalwart against fear or temptation. I'm remembering, like, I could have run, but I didn't because I believe in myself. And so I'm going to try to remain stalwart, not panic. I'm rolling heart to roll under fire. Okay, that's a 5 on the die, plus 3 for 8. Could be good. Against a 1 and a 5, which means it's a strong hit for react under fire. That's great. I succeed. I am in control. Take +1 momentum. Whew. All right, and now I'm going to take decisive action. So I'm going to roll just the challenge dice with the 9 at progress. And it's a 5 and a 1, which means it's a strong hit. I prevail. I take +1 momentum. And so I have defeated this little swarm of proto-wugglers. And I, once again, I stand here like, okay. Yeah, I did it. Oh boy. I had to work really hard to fight those little proto-wugglers. Okay, so that was just upon arrival at this sector here. So I can try to explore this waypoint, or I can feel like maybe that this one is not going to have any more. Well, I don't know. Let's explore the waypoint, because if I get a hit, I get more momentum. So let's explore a waypoint. Rolling plus wits. I'm determined to finish this expedition and get discovery points, because then I can get experience, and then I feel like I accomplished something. All right. Okay, well that's only a 1 on the die for a total of 3, so it's not good looking here. And then it's a miss with a match. So, all right, my explorer is I encounter an immediate hardship or threat. I must pay the price. When I miss with a match, you may instead confront chaos as a move. There's a move or an oracle for confront chaos. When your exploration of a waypoint uncovers something dreadful, decide the number of aspects, 1, 2, or 3. Roll that number of times and choose that number of aspects on the table below. Then envision how the encounter begins. Okay, well, I think maybe just 1 aspect for now, under the circumstances. But let's roll this confront chaos table. I'm so scared, you guys. 85 on confront chaos. Technology nullified or made unstable. Oh my. Okay. I think what maybe makes sense here is a recognition of, like, oh no, under the assault provided by the hazardous conditions of this ship, my life support is starting to fail. Yeah, okay. My life support is starting to fail, which means, you know what? I'm going to try to finish an expedition. I'm not staying in this place any longer. But I have a finish an expedition move, so, and I'm at 6 of 10. So let's see how that goes. And also, okay, so my explorer gives me extra ticks if I finish the expedition and get a hit. But let's try it. I only have a 6. But roll the challenge dice as I basically say, you know what? Time to go. Time to go. Okay, so with a 9 and a 1 on the challenge dice, that means I finish an expedition with a weak hit. So on a strong hit, you reach your destination or complete your survey. Mark a reward on your discoveries track per the expedition's rank. And the expedition's rank is just 1. But with my explorer, I mark an extra 1. So that is 2 ticks for my Discoveries Legacy track. And then, so I get that reward, but on a weak hit, I also face an unforeseen complication at the end of the expedition. Make the Legacy reward 1 rank lower, and envision what you encounter. So that means I only get one more tick instead of 2, which means I don't get experience yet. All right, only get the 3. And then let's get one more shipboard peril as I'm trying to make my way out. Let's roll a percentile dice for, the first third is for living area, then medical, then engineering, because that's the areas that I went through. So to tell me where I encounter this new peril on my way out. Okay, the third means that I get all the way back out to engineering before I face another peril. What's the engineering peril? 72. Shrouded atmosphere conceals a lurking foe. Okay. So first of all, I can delete this. Shrouded atmosphere conceals a lurking foe. Oh, so as I'm coming back through engineering, I realized that all of the damage from earlier created a leak in one of these water tanks, and so now there's this mist in the area, and all of a sudden I'm pushing through the mist, and then oh no, the utility bot from before, it's back. It's not actually dead after all. This is Terminator when it's cut in half, like it got blown into pieces, but it's still coming. Oh God. Yeah, that's got to exactly be what happens, right? So I think I'm coming back out, but like face danger makes sense, because at this point, like, you know what? Actually, you know what? I'm going to face danger relying on my faith to get me through. So with resolve and my faith, I'm going to rely on my faith to get me through. So I'm facing danger with heart. Cuz I'm just like I'm on a mission. I'm not going to let some stupid utility bot stop me. All right, so that's a 3 on the die plus 3 for 6 against challenge die. 1 and a 3. That means it's a strong hit. So not only does that give me a strong hit for my face danger in getting past this bot, which gives me a +1 momentum, but also, because of my devotant, I also, on a strong hit, I take +1 momentum or +1 spirit. So I got the 1 momentum from the strong hit there, and I think I will restore my spirit a little bit. Get back up to 4. And I think that gets me back out of the ship. And I'm just like coming out, just feeling, yes, I did it. I got into a lot of danger, and I lost a lot of my supplies for nothing that I actually get to come out with me, except for knowing what was in there. Also, my spacesuit is still covered with germs, and oh look, my hoverbike is broken again. All right, well, them's the exploring breaks sometimes. Okay, so first, let's see if I can't repair my hoverbike. Actually, you know what? First, I think I need to decontaminate my suit, because I don't want to get stuff from my suit on the bike or something. So let's see what makes sense. You know what? Maybe the repair move makes sense for that too. Like, I don't know. Like, let's see what could also maybe be secure an advantage. I'm trying to think what makes sense for saying, like, I'm going to try to just like field. You know what? I need to check my gear. check my gear to see if I have like stuff to decontaminate my suit. Yeah, so I have a check my gear move. I'm going to roll plus supply, which is only +2 right now. And it rolls a 1 for the die, so that's only a 3, so that's not looking good. Against a 10 and a 9, so that's definitely not good. So on a miss, I don't have it, and the situation grows more perilous. I have to pay the price. So pay the price, I think... I think maybe... You know what? Pay the price. Let's see. I could just roll on this table. Like, I feel like one of the obvious choices might be just... You know what? I think maybe I'm going to endure... Like, I'm going to take stress harm just from realizing, like, this is a danger that I can't fix right now. I'm going to need to be careful coming back into town. So I'm going to endure stress as the move. Where is that? All right, so my stress is currently at 3. So I'm rolling the endure stress move. It's not great, so total of 4 against a 9 and a 6. So that's a miss on endure stress. So it's worse than I thought. I'm going to suffer an additional -1 spirit or -2 momentum. I'm gonna take it from the spirit, which is, it's not going great. Okay, so my suit is still not decontaminated. I do need to repair my hover bike, and it's in the field. But I'm going to roll plus wits. Okay, it's a 3 on the die, +2 for 5. And then the challenge dice is 6 and 8, so that's a miss. On a miss, the repairs are not made, and the situation worsens. Okay. I think the situation... Let's see. The situation worsens. Pay the price. Let's roll the pay the price oracle. 84. 84 is I'm stressed. Okay, yeah, all right, I buy it. So I'm gonna roll. I lose 1 stress. I'm gonna do the stress move, endure stress, and I'm rolling plus heart now because it's higher. That's not good. It's only a 4 against 2 7s. So that's a miss with a match. Yeah, so it's a miss. I think I'll lose the 2 momentum this time, make it worse. Okay, so, and it's still not repaired. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just try to take a moment once again, and I'm going to try to say, okay, I'm getting too flustered. I'm trying to do all of this. I'm losing sight of my higher mission here. I need to just try to take a moment and focus. I need to try to care for myself first. So I think first I'm going to, try to meditate and get my feelings under control a little bit more. So once again, I'm going to roll with heart. Okay, it's a 3 on the die, +3 for 6 against a 3 and a 6, which means it's a weak hit. On a weak hit, I do gain +2 spirit, but I sacrifice 1 momentum. So my spirit's recovered a little bit. I lose momentum a little bit because I think probably in this context what it is just a little reminder I've got, limited life support. I can't stay out here forever. But so now I'm going to take a moment and try to get a little bit of medical treatment, to the extent that I can in my suit. Try to soothe my wrenched shoulder a little bit. And so when you heal and you are mending your own wounds, you roll iron or wits, whichever is lower. And so I think that's my iron. I'm going to give it a try. That's a 3 + 1 for 4. Against a 3 and a 10. So it's a weak hit. So on a weak hit, I regain 2 health, but it costs extra time or resources. And then I either lose 2 momentum or sacrifice resources 2, which would leave me at 0 for supply. You know what? I think I can get momentum back better than supply under these current circumstances. All right, so it's not good to have low momentum, but at least it's not negative. Yeah, okay. So, but I did heal myself a bit, so, okay, so got myself a little bit more under control. I think now that I've focused on myself, treated myself a little bit, I'm going to try one more time to repair my hover bike. So I'm rolling plus wits. It's only a 2 on the die for 4 against an 8 and a 4, so that means it's a miss. All right. I think once again, it's not fixed. I lose another point of supply, I think, because I maybe break the tool. All right, so I think without the hover bike, what it means is that instead of being, like if I were to just leave it behind, I think what that would mean is if it's working, I can set a course because I know the path, the route that I took. I know the terrain already. But I think if I were to try to do it on foot, it would have to be an expedition again, and there's all sorts of ways that can go badly. I've got to fix it. Plus, it's borrowed. I have to be able to return it. All right, so I'm paying a price every time I fail. So I just got to keep trying, and my life depends on it. You know what? Actually, I'm going to try to secure an advantage once again by, please, Ascendancy, give me the wisdom. Give me the wisdom that I need to do this. So my devotant, I'm going to roll to secure an advantage with heart. By giving me insight, but it's only a 2 on the die for a total of 5 against a 9 and a 5, so that's a miss. So my secure an advantage, I fail or my assumptions betray me. I think that probably just hurts my spirit again, which I'm going to once again roll to endure stress. I'm rolling for heart. That's a little better, so that's an 8 total against a 5 and a 1. So at least that's a strong hit on enduring stress. And I think on endure stress on a strong hit, I can leave my spirit where it is and get a little momentum back, which maybe I'll do. It's tricky, but now I'm just going to try to repair again because I need to repair it. Like this is kind of a desperate, lost in the desert situation. Okay, finally this time. So I got a 6 on the die, plus 2 for 8, which is pretty good. So hopefully against a 9 and a 7, so it's still only a weak hit, but a weak hit is at least gets me some repair progress. My hover bike doesn't, I think a hover bike gets, let's see, So in the field, a weak hit gives me 1 point. Let me double check if, like, yeah, I feel like that works. That gets it going again. Okay. All right. Whew. Okay, the hoverbike is fixed. So now I can chart a course back to the set a course back to the settlement. And so, oh my gosh, but I have to roll plus supply, which is only at a 1 right now, to set a course. All right, well, let's try it. Oh God, and it's the worst roll that I could get. So it's a 1 and a 1. 1 on the die plus 1 against a 10 and a 2. So that's a miss. On a miss, I am waylaid by a significant threat and must pay the price. If you overcome this obstacle, you may push on safely to your destination. So let's see what the pay the price table is. Offers us. Oh, Oracle. 70, which is you waste resources. Okay, so I think that basically means like it gets my supply all the way back down to 0. All the way down to 0 as I arrive at the, so if I overcome the obstacle, I must, but I can still reach my destination. So here's where where I'm stuck, is that I have gotten back to this settlement where my ship and stuff are, but I can't just go in because I'm worried that I'm contaminated. And I have like no supply left. So I think what I need to do is like talk to whoever's on the I need to talk to the person who's on the the airlock control and ask like what do I do? So I think that's going to be a gather information, and I think I'm going to have it be sociability, because in this context, I'm really kind of saying, hey, my dude, you know how it is. I was out there doing dangerous stuff. I am very concerned that I don't bring something dangerous into the settlement. I'm concerned about all of you. I could have just not said anything. Can you help me out? And so I'm trying to gather information, or no, excuse me, that was secure an advantage. So if I'm gathering information, that would be with just wits. But I think what I'm doing is secure an advantage, which is I'm going to, that I think if I'm successful that they can get, because I'm sure they would have means of decontamination. That's got to be a thing that they have. And it's just maybe it'll cost me or something. So we'll see. But I'm going to roll with heart just to see if this guy can help me out. All right, it's a 5 on the die, plus 3 for 8, which is not bad. Not bad, maybe. Against a 4 and an 8, so that's a weak hit. So on a weak hit, I have to choose either plus 2 momentum or plus 1 on next move. Okay. Well, you know what? Actually, probably what I should have been doing is compel anyway. Yeah, now I'm just looking at it. That's really what it ought to have been, is a compel roll. And that's really what I was trying to offer. So let's find out what this same roll would have been with compel, because I still would have been rolling with heart. It would have been the same numbers. So a weak hit with compel is they agree, but the agreement comes with a demand or a complication. Envision their counter offer. Well, I don't have any supply to give them right now. I'm going to have to, let's see. Oh, well, how about this? We have oracles for characters, right? So let's roll on some of those. Let's figure out who this person is. characters. So let's give them two first look roles to give us a sense of who they are, or like what this person's kind of like. 80 and 12. So this person is tattooed and alluring. Ooh. Character role, I mean, we just established that they're like on security, like they man the airlocks and everything. But character goal, let's roll a character goal for them, and maybe that'll help us find out what they would want from us in exchange for some help. So 28, escape a captor. So maybe they feel like this is a lawless settlement. So maybe they feel like I don't want them to just be like a slave, but maybe it's a bit like that where they have to, like the person that they're working for in doing this job, like controls their, like they can't leave the job. They're not allowed to leave the job. They get paid like, so I guess, I mean, in some ways that it would be a little bit like being a slave, right? So so he's like an indentured servant, and he wants to leave, but he doesn't have the means. And so he says, how about this? First, well, yeah, let's also get a name for this guy. I'm gonna roll 2 D100s to get a first and last name for this person. 4 and 82. So this is Elisa Hunter. Okay. All right, Elisa Hunter. Let's see. What do we need to do to make a connection with them? Make a connection is when you search out a new relationship or give focus to an existing relationship. Yeah, so I think I wasn't there yet, so I won't be able to do that yet, but maybe I will once I do this. I'm going to say, they say, I will give you the resources you need in order to decontaminate your suit. But I'm sticking my neck out for a little bit, so I want you to help me get out of my my current indentured servitude. I don't care how, but I just need to be free from it. And I need you to promise or swear an iron vow. All right, yeah, I think I'm going to need to do that. So, yeah, okay. I am going to have to swear an iron vow. I'm going to make this another troublesome one. Swear an iron vow. I vow to help Elisa Hunter escape her indentured servitude. All right. So that's a vow. So I'm going to swear a vow, but let's see, if I would get a +1 if I did it to a connection, but I feel like it will only be willing to do this would allow me to try to make a connection. Although, you know what, I'm gonna allow myself to do this. Like, no, it's like I'm connecting with her. Like, she tells me her story and what her whole deal is. So I'm gonna roll to make a connection with her to see if that will give me some benefit on getting my vow. So I'm gonna roll +heart to try to make a connection with her. So that's a 3 plus 3 for 6 against an 8 and a 9. So that's a miss. I don't make a connection and the situation worsens. So, yeah, maybe that's my... while this is going on, this is taking so long, my life support is failing on me worse, and I take another hit to my health there. Okay, so in this case, I'm just going to try to swear the Iron Vow, and I don't have the connection yet. Maybe once I accomplish this, I'll get something better. So I'm swearing an Iron Vow. I vow I will help you escape your indentured servitude. Okay, that's a 5 on the die plus 3 for 8. That's not bad. Against a 9 and a 1. So that's a weak hit on swearing a new Iron Vow. I am determined, but I begin my quest with more questions than answers. I take +1 momentum. Okay, so take +1 momentum, have a new vow and a new promise, and by making the promise, she agrees to get me decontaminated so I can come in. I have the stuff that I need now to try and return and get Kay's medicine. I've sworn a vow to her. I'm going to do it, but I'm in the middle of something that I will, and I swear I will come back. I've sworn a vow, so you don't have to worry, but I do need to finish this other one first, and then I will come back. So I think I'm going to return to my ship. I'm going to take a moment now that I'm in safety here. Let's see. While I'm here, let's see. I think I'm going to spend time recovering within a community now that I'm here in this settlement again before I move on. So I'm going to roll with heart to spend time here in Ramshackle. That's a 6 total against a 1 and an 8. So that's a weak hit. So if it was a strong hit, this is a safe refuge. You and your allies may each choose 2 recover moves. And instead of rolling, assume an automatic strong hit. But on a weak hit, as above, but time is shorter, resources is strained, you and your allies each make 1 recover move instead of 2. All right. Okay, so what that means is I can choose heal, hearten, repair, or resupply and assume a strong hit. So I think, I could use all of those, but supply is the one that I'm closest to being completely unprepared. So I'm going to assume a strong hit on resupply. And what that would be is if I'm not yet unprepared. I would be unprepared if I was at 0. I want to just confirm that because I'm always making sure I want to. So if I were suffering supply, sacrifice resources, if your supply is exhausted, mark unprepared. Okay, so I guess I was. If it is reduced to 0, mark unprepared. So I was unprepared. So by resupplying with a strong hit, okay, resupplying with a strong hit. If you are unprepared, clear the impact and take +1 supply. All right, so I'm at 1 supply, and that's that's it. Okay, and so now I think I'm going to have to go around, and I need to. If I'm going to set a course to return to Hearth, I need more supply than that. So I think, while I'm here, my first couple of days back were not as fruitful as I would have hoped. But I'm going to try to go ahead and barter when I attempt to bolster my readiness, yeah, I think I'm going to try to, just take some of the stuff from my ship that is just like surplus maybe, the things that I don't need as much, and to just try to get a good deal on barters to get some of the stuff that I need to be a little bit more under control. So I'm rolling resupply with heart, barter and make an appeal. Okay, so a 5 on the die plus 3 for 8. Okay, against a 6 and a 7, so that's a strong hit. Great, great, great. Okay, so I am no longer unprepared, so I can take plus 2 supply. All right, that gets me back up to plus 3. Whew, that's better. All right, now I'm going to try to set a course to return to Hearth, and bring this grass back to Kay, so he can treat his Wuggler infection, which I have a whole new appreciation for now that I understand the life cycle more. Okay, so I'm setting a course. I'm rolling plus supply, which is 3 right now, which could be, could be okay. Oh, and I rolled a 6 on the die, so that's 9 total. And then the challenge die, a 6 and a 9. So that means that I got a weak hit on set a course. On a weak hit, I arrive but face a cost or complication. Choose one, suffer costs en route. Either 1 for -2 or 2 for -1, or face complication at the destination. Complication at the destination. Let's see. Maybe let's roll on some of the oracle tables to envision a possible, complication. Let's get some of the generic oracles. I think we're almost done for today, by the way. I want to try to see if I can complete this first vow for Kay. All right, so let's try action in theme and see if that gives us an inspiration for this new complication. Okay, 51 and 75. So 51 is guard, 75 rival. Guard rival. Let's see. So maybe in my promise to get Elisa out of her indentured servitude, maybe I got flagged by her boss. And so when I try to arrive into Hearth, there's like a security flag on my ship now. And I'm going to need to talk to their personnel to explain the situation before they'll let me just into the settlement. I think that makes sense. Yeah. So I think I'm going to try to just explain, to just talk to the security people. But I think before I go talk to them, once again, I'm gonna pray to the Ascendancy. I'm gonna meditate on how the ability to transcend physical reality means that all of this is really transitory, and to give me a sense of the wisdom to how best to proceed. So I'm going to try to secure an advantage, rolling heart, before I go talk to these security people. That's a bad roll, though, for only 4 against a 2 and a 7. So that means it's a weak hit. For a weak hit on secure an advantage, I can either take +2 momentum or add +1 to the next move, which is, I think that's what I will do. But also for my Devotant, on a hit, take +1 momentum or +1 spirit. All right, so praying makes me feel a little better. So I'll get my spirit back up, and I'm going to take a +1 to the to the next roll, which is going to be to compel to just talk to these security people and explain this person is, it's one of the lawless people who over at Ramshackle, you know how those people are, and they're convinced that I'm going to try to take one of their workers away, and so he's just trying to get me into trouble. And because I think that they're going to believe that, and just to persuade them that I'm not a danger to them, despite my weirdo religion from their perspective, which I think maybe I won't get into. Okay, so I rolled a 3 plus 3 for 6 against 6 and a 6. So not only is that... but I didn't add my plus 1, which means that I got a 7 against a 6 and a 6, which means it's a strong hit with an opportunity. Perfect. Oh my God. Oh, that scared me for a second. Okay. So on a strong hit, they'll do what you want or agree to your conditions, take plus 1 momentum. But also, got an opportunity here. So maybe the one opportunity potentially could be that they have an idea like, oh yeah, you know what? I like that. Instead of even rolling, what I'm just going to say is my whole argument about, like, you know how these people are, they're going to say, you know what? This sounds like something we've seen before from this guy. He is always sending ships in and out of the two systems, and he is always micromanaging these little security flags. And honestly, it causes us a lot of trouble, and we don't approve of how he does business. And so maybe what that means is that I have a possibility of knowing, like they're willing to help me out in terms of figuring out a way to get Elisa out of that situation. So I'm going to say that that actually represents marking a waypoint on my vow for her. That I've got an in. I've got a plan now. So we're going to reach a milestone. Yeah, cool. Okay, well, I was going to make that black one. All right, and then, great. So they let me go, and I've got an in. I'm going to come back and talk to them more about how to move that whole thing forward. But first, I've got to deliver the grass 2K. So I return to him, and that's going to let me reach the one more milestone for that vow. So I'm going to try to fulfill my vow to K Vega by bringing him the medicine, this grass, this space grass that's actually sort of hair-like cilia of the larval stage of, of these awful little things. Okay, so fulfill your vow. I'm going to roll the challenge dice and compare to my progress, which is a 9. Okay, it's a 5 and a 4, which means it's a strong hit. On a strong hit, your vow is fulfilled. Mark a reward on your quest's legacy track per the vow's rank. Troublesome is just 1 tick, so that's all I get. Okay, but I did it. Vow fulfilled, and that was a vow that I completed for my my buddy Kay here, and so he's someone that's gonna like maybe help me out when I need starship maintenance, and give me discounted repairs there. So I'm gonna say that when I get repairs from him, it'll cost me just like 1 less supply than it would have normally. So let's see, what does repairs look like at a facility when someone is, repairing for me? Is roll supply. So I'll say I get a +1 to supply rolls when I'm rolling with this guy at the facility. So I'm going to actually also, first of all, now that I've done a vow for him, I want to see if I can develop the connection. So develop your relationship. When you reinforce your relationship with a connection by doing any of the following, swearing a vow to do their service, or fulfilling, I would think that fulfilling a vow. Yeah, I think that this makes sense, that it would count. Because I swore a vow for them, but now I've fulfilled it. So let's mark progress on my connection with K Vega. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Okay. Okay. Okay, so, yeah, good deal. So we've made progress there, and I'm going to try to get some repairs done on my my little survey bot buddy. Oh no, he's already fixed. All right, we're good. So I don't actually need any more repairs right now from him, but that's good to know that I've got a shipwright friend. Okay, so I think the last moment then is I need to name my survey bot. Let's see. I don't think the Oracle tables have like survey bot names. Let's see. So like his function is to, to check things ahead for me. Scout. Scout's a good name. I mean, it is what he is, but he's just like, yeah, I mean, I just immediately like it. Like the protagonist of To Kill a Mockingbird, Scout. That's a good name. His name is Scout. All right. So, I almost got to where I'd get some experience from Discovery, but not quite, because I fled from that Derelict ship for my life. All right. I think that's a good place to finish it for tonight. But we've got some ongoing threads. Like I've procured some medicine. I've learned a little bit more about like what maybe is going on with these Wigglers, and I helped out Kay, developed that relationship a little bit. Did a new vow for for Elisa, even though I think I'm going to have to get her. I'm going to have to. I don't get a connection with her yet because she's a little bit like, no, I don't know you like that. Maybe you help me out and then we'll talk. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. So thank you everybody for watching, and I'll be playing this some more again sometime soon. But also I run Dungeons and Dragons on this channel periodically on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and so check me out on YouTube, podcast versions at christianaellis.com. It's all good. All right, bye now.